Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha, Harem Chat Group, I Can Make Up the Future. Chapter 21. Yamanaka Ino. This woman is so shameless. Tenten. Although I am also very angry, Ino, be careful not to violate the group rule 3. Haruno Sakura. Tenten senpai, you shouldn't remind her. Yamanaka Ino. Broad forehead, you are also violating the rule 3, understand? Forget it, you guys study first, it's my turn to take the exam. Hyuga Hinata. At this time, Karen's eyes slightly recovered a little bit of spirit, but she didn't notice the existence of the chat group. She stared at the picture in front of her carefully and found that it seemed that no one except herself could see it. Is this a revelation of the future? Who is that Mu Mujun? Karen was lucky and hoped that the picture in front of her was the real future. If she could live so freely in the future, even if she was suffering and miserable now, she could grit her teeth and persevere. In the picture, facing Karen's coquetry, Miu Miu smiled indifferently, and a huge Senju Buddha suddenly rose behind him. Then give it a try. Miu Miu took his hand out of Shonglin's arms, jumped onto the Buddha's head, and said condescendingly with his arms folded, use your ability to break it for me. This Senju Buddha is at least hundreds of meters high. Shonglin was shocked as soon as it appeared. But she soon came to her senses and gritted her teeth secretly. For Mu Mujun, I will definitely break it no matter what. Shonglin eliminated all distracting thoughts, and the only thought in her mind was to break this Senju Buddha. Shonglin clenched her fists tightly, exerted all her strength, and shouted loudly, adamantine sealing chains. As she shouted, her momentum exploded. Several golden chains flew out from behind her, then quickly stretched out, and tied up the Senju Buddha in a few swishes. The golden chains tightened with all their strength, squeezing the Senju Buddha and making a creaking sound. This is not enough. Miu Miu stood there calmly, and the situation around him had no effect on him at all. Shonglin naturally couldn't give up like this, and she let out a hysterical scream, almost using all her strength. Adamantine sealing chains is indeed an ability that can easily suppress even 9 tails. After Shonglin's full-strength burst, the Senju Buddha finally couldn't bear it. Bang 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 bang. The Senju Buddha was squeezed and exploded in many places, as if there were many landmines buried in its body, exploding everywhere, and soon turned into a pile of broken wood chips. Miu Miu also fell from the sky and reached out to hug Shonglin, who fell down because of exhaustion. Shonglin showed a happy smile on her face, and said weakly, Mumu-jun, I did it. Great. Miu Miu rubbed her head a few times and gave an affirmative expression. Shonglin laughed, hugged Mumu in return, buried her head in his arms, and took a deep breath. Mu Mujun's smell is so fascinating. Shonglin was intoxicated, then raised her head and looked at Miu Miu with watery eyes and said, Mu Mujun, do you still mean what you said? Our agreement. I have done it. Of course, as long as you don't regret it. Miu Miu smiled slightly. Shonglin's pretty face was slightly red, and she mustered up the courage to raise her head and said, Mu Mujun, love me. Miu Miu did not respond immediately, freed his hands to go around Shonglin's back and slapped her suddenly. Wood-style 4-pillar house technique. A wooden house rose up next to them. Miu Miu picked up Shonglin horizontally and flashed into the house. The scene quickly turned to the room. Miu Miu and Shonglin had rolled into a ball, gradually moving in an indescribable direction. Shonglin's face was flushed, but her eyes were full of envy. She knew her character very well. Since she made such a choice, it meant that Mu Mujun was worth it. Will my future self really be that strong? And there are no tooth marks on my body. Karen's eyes began to flash with a strong light. At the same time, Ino, who was taking the graduation test, was distracted by watching the video. As a result, she saw the scene in the room, which was even more outrageous than the wedding night of Konoha Shika and Miu Miu. Her hands that were making seals couldn't help but tremble, and even the chakra output was greater. Oh no, Ino's face changed, and it was too late to concentrate. Bang, bang, bang. So, a large number of Ino clones appeared in the classroom. In the blink of an eye, there were hundreds of them, filling the entire classroom. Fortunately, ordinary clone technique has no entity, which can be seen but not touched, so there was no bloodshed. However, Uruka and Mizuki, who were acting as invigilators, were so scared that they almost jumped out of their chairs. This exaggerated number of clones made them stunned, and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. Ordinary clone technique does not consume much, but even if Iruka and Mizuki come, they may not be able to fill the classroom at full output. Now Ino, in terms of chakra volume alone, has reached the level of Chunin. I can only say that he is worthy of being a child of a big family. Iruka suppressed the shock in his heart, nodded and smiled. It seems that you have really worked hard for the graduation examination. To be honest, Ino, your performance today really surprised me. If you pass the exam, come and get your Genin forehead protector. Thank you, teacher. Ino breathed a sigh of relief and secretly felt fortunate. Fortunately, the chat group added a buff effect to her, and her chakra control level has also improved a lot. Otherwise, the little mistake just now may have failed the ninjutsu. Haruno Sakura. Why do you let me see this kind of thing? No, I want to wash my eyes. Tiantian. My heart hurts. The group leader doesn't want me anymore to tea. Yamanaka Ino. I almost failed the exam, but compared to that, it's still more painful to lose Mu Mujun. Hyuga Hinata. The second half of that CG video was not fully displayed in the end. It can only be said that half of it was shown, with a kind of half-hidden haziness, just like some restricted movies. But even so, for the 4 flowers of Konoha who have never experienced anything and are at an age where they don't quite understand, the impact is very huge. The girls couldn't recover for a long time, and when it was Sakura and Hinata's turn to take the exam, they were completely out of shape. Fortunately, because of the chat group buff effect, they could easily pass it even if they just dealt with it casually. Girls of this age are more concerned about men and women, but ignore the strength shown by Miu Miu and Karen. Yamanaka Ino. No, that thing must not be allowed to happen. Even if it happens, she must be at the forefront. Tiantian. Support Ino. We will all be the wives of the group leader in the future. How can we let the women outside succeed? Yamanaka Ino. So we have to take the initiative to make Miu Miu's attention on us. Tiantian. That's right, take the initiative. Hyuga Hinata. Haruno Sakura. Enough, you two, are you too immersed in the drama? Little Sakura feels that she is the only one who is sober among the 4 of them. Although Hinata didn't say anything, little Sakura also noticed her from time to time. Since being kissed by Miu Miu, Hinata has also become strange. Uzumaki Karen. What is this? For the 4 flowers of Konoha, marrying Miu Miu when they grow up is a difficult thing to accept at first, not to mention that 4 people are marrying one man at the same time. But for Karen, it is a good opportunity to get out of the abyss of despair in Kusagaku village. So the 4 flowers of Konoha will be entangled and resisted at first, doubting the authenticity of the video content. And Karen sincerely hopes that the content in the video is true. After seeing the future, she and Miu Miu are truly in love, and the happiness on her face can't be hidden. Her heart is full of yearning, envy, expectation, desire and other emotions. With hope, the whole person's mental outlook is different. Although she still lets those Kusagaku ninjas treat her as a human pill without any resistance. But before, it was because her heart was dead, but now she wants to live. She wants to witness the future. Even if she will die in the end, she will hold on until she knows Miu Miu. The psychological changes. Naturally, she soon discovered the chat group of Miu Miu's harem in her consciousness. Seeing the messages from the 4 flowers of Konoha above, Karen was a little confused. She was smart and reacted immediately. The 4 girls in the group seemed to have seen the scene she just saw. And they were full of hostility towards her. Uzumaki Karen. What is this? Karen subconsciously asked her question, and the next moment, the chat group exploded. Yamanaka Ino. You are called Uzumaki Karen. You are the woman who seduced Miu Miu-kun just now. Tiantian. Do you know what first come first served means, and what is a married man? Tiantian. Look, the 4 girls here are all Miu Miu-kun's wives in the future. Yamanaka Ino. It is a crime to contact Miu Miu-kun privately without our permission, do you know? Haruno Sakura. Hyuga Hinata. Haruno Sakura. You two should be restrained. Do you want to read the group rule 3 again? Haruno Sakura. No, why should I remind you? She should have just sat there and watched the show, waiting for someone to make a mistake and be punished by the system. That way she wouldn't be the only one, and wouldn't be so embarrassed in this group anymore. Unfortunately, she reacted too late, and the reminder had already been sent out. Ino and Tenten suddenly woke up and didn't dare to rush forward again. Yamanaka Ino. It was a close call, thank you for the reminder, wide forehead. But I still have to say that I don't agree with this. Tenten. That's right, thank you for the reminder, wide forehead, I don't agree with this either. Haruno Sakura. Tenten, you've also learned bad things, you weren't like this at the beginning. Tenten. Haha, embarrassed, I'm a little excited now. Hyuga Hinata. I think we should still live in peace. Everyone is still young, what's the point of arguing over these things now? Although they don't know how old Karen is, and which village she's from. But they knew that Mumu was the same age as them, and it might be okay for him to talk about love, but he could only say that he had the will but not the ability to do bad things. Yamanaka Ino. Okay, give Hinata some face. At Uzumaki, come out and talk, and introduce yourself first. Tiantian. At Uzumaki, come on, who are you? Where are you now? Karen was already confused. She had just joined the group and didn't know a lot of things yet. How could she react to receiving so much information at once? Especially Ino and Tiantian's open hostility towards her made her more cautious, and she didn't dare to talk casually. Karen didn't reply, and studied the Harem group in silence. She first flipped through the chat history. It might be that the Harem group had just been activated not long ago, and the chat history of the 4 flowers of Konoha in the past 2 days could be seen. After reading the chat history, Karen had a general understanding of the function of this group. Then she couldn't wait to open the group file, which had 3 videos, one of little Sakura being punished, and 2 future videos. Karen was very interested in the video of little Sakura being punished, which made little Sakura turn into a quail every time it was mentioned. Karen is essentially a woman with a more sinister heart than Ino. It's just that her experience in Kusagakure village suppressed her nature. Even so, it couldn't stop her 8 trigrams heart from burning at this time. Soon, Karen began to appreciate the process of little Sakura being punished. She blushed and was short of breath, and her brain was congested. I didn't expect that this group would be so perverted. If I was punished like this, would it be considered sorry to Mujun? Although I didn't get in, I was also taught a lesson. No, I must abide by the group rules and keep my chastity for Mujun. Karen opened the group announcement and memorized the group rules to prevent accidental mistakes in the future. Group Rule 5 says that you can get a buff effect when you first join the group, so I have already got a buff. Karen hadn't noticed it before, but now she carefully sensed it and found that it was true. All attributes have been greatly enhanced, and even the amount of chakra has doubled. The Uzumaki clan has a lot of chakra, and now it has become even more terrifying. No wonder the fatigue and pain in the body have been reduced a lot after the group system was activated. Karen thought it was a psychological effect caused by her hope before, but now she knows that it is the credit of the group system. If this is the case, then I can start practicing the secret technique left by my mother. Karen's eyes flashed with brilliance. Talent and understanding are both enhanced, and practice will be twice as effective with half the effort and progress rapidly. If she is lucky, she may be able to escape the control of the hidden grass village by herself. If she could practice the adamantine ceiling chains in advance, what would Kusagakure village be? It would be her amusement park. However, Karen quickly suppressed her restless heart. Now she was still a human pill on the battlefield, and the timing was not right. So she turned her attention to the chat group and watched the 2 future videos again. She finally got to know 3 of the 4 flowers of Konoha in the group. There was also Tenten, but she didn't appear in the video, so she didn't know her yet. However, from the group records, she already knew what kind of person Tenten was. The 4 people were all Konoha shinobi, and 3 of them, like Miu, had just participated in the graduation examination of the ninja school. Miu-kun, so charming. Karen looked at Miu in the video and was completely fascinated. Through the chat records, she already knew that the content in the future video was true. So, what she saw before about her and Miu was also true. And now that she has joined Miu's harem group, she is recognized as Miu's woman. The biggest question now is when she can meet Miu Mushong. Uzumaki Karen. Hello, sisters, I am Karen, I am 13 years old, and I am now in Kusagakure village. Please give me more advice in the future. After learning about this harem group, Karen has completely put her mind at ease. In this place, as long as you don't violate the group rules, you can do whatever you want and be yourself. Karen's attitude made Ino and Tenten hesitate to say bad things to each other. Especially after being reminded by little Sakura, they didn't dare to say anything too aggressive, otherwise it would be easy to violate the group rules. Yamanaka Ino, are you a Kusagaku ninja? I didn't expect that people from other countries can join this group. Tenten, if that's the case, will there be more new members in the future? Yamanaka Ino, no way. 5 people are already a lot, Mumu-kun. Well, if it's Mumu-kun, all the girls who have come into contact with him may be conquered by his charm. Tenten, ah, my heart hurts so much. Is the group leader going to be divided into so many parts? At Yamanaka Ino, help me introduce the group leader later, I want to meet him today. Yamanaka Ino, actually, I'm not very happy if I can have Mumu-kun alone. Tenten, too much, we are good sisters in the same camp. Yamanaka Ino, okay, we agreed to be in the same camp, we have to help each other, and we must not betray each other. Tenten, I swear, if I betray, let me be severely punished by the group system. Haruno Sakura, you guys are not going to do this. What a big talk. Uzumaki Karen, actually, I am not a Kusagaku ninja, I am just a guest here. I am from the Uzumaki clan. If that incident had not happened, I should be considered as one of Konoha. Hyuga Hinata, Uzumaki, Yamanaka Ino, what do you mean? Tenten, I heard that the Uzumaki clan used to be the ninja of the Uzushiogakur village in the Whirlpool country, and they have been friends with Konoha for generations and are allies. The wife of the first Hokage is from the Uzumaki clan, as for what happened later, I don't know. Tenten, the name of the Uzumaki clan is rarely heard in the ninja world now, it seems that the clan has been exterminated. Haruno Sakura, by the way, Naruto's last name is also Uzumaki. Is he related to the Uzumaki clan? Uzumaki Karen, I also saw that future video. I'm not sure about Naruto's identity. Because the symbol of the Uzumaki clan is red hair, but his hair is golden. Yamanaka Ino, in that case, why are you in Kusagaku village? Has the Uzumaki clan really been exterminated? Uzumaki Karen, yes, our country is gone. There are not many people who survived by chance. They are all scattered all over the place. They are basically dependent on others and their situation is not very good. Hyuga Hinata, so pitiful. Tenten, so what's your situation now? If you have any difficulties, we can help you as appropriate. Yamanaka Ino, okay, once you join the group, you are your sisters. Although I don't want to share Mumu-kun with so many people, I always feel that if I want to be with Mumu-kun, I have to accept this kind of thing. Hyuga Hinata, I can help too. Haruno Sakura, compared to them, my ability is average, but if there is anything I can help with, just let me know. The 4 girls of Konoha are kind-hearted people after all. When they heard about Karen's situation, they couldn't help but feel compassion. Uzumaki Karen, thank you. Karen's eyes were filled with tears and she was deeply moved. With just a few words, her heart was filled with warmth and she was more hopeful about the future. This harem group is the turning point of her life. Karen felt that from this moment on, her life was completely different. Although the 4 girls of Konoha were hostile to her at first, their attitudes changed after she lowered her posture and treated them honestly. Karen couldn't help but look at the Rule 3 in the group announcement. All members of the group were sisters. Sisters, a very beautiful word, which Karen didn't dare to think of before. Unfortunately, if I had joined this chat group earlier, maybe my mother would not have died. Uzumaki Karen, I'm okay now. If there's any need, I'll ask for it. Karen didn't tell them the truth in the end. It's not that it's hard to talk about it. It's mainly because through the chat records and future videos, she already knows that the 4 flowers of Konoha are the same age as her. 3 have just participated in the graduation examination of the ninja school, and 1 has only been a genin for 1 year. Such strength is not enough to change Karen's current situation. It will only make them uncomfortable if she tells them. Karen now regards the 4 flowers of Konoha as her own sisters from the bottom of her heart, and doesn't want to affect their mood because of her own affairs. While the girls were chatting happily, the graduation examination of Konoha Shinobi School had ended. Just like in the future video, 27 people in the class took the examination, 26 passed, and only Naruto was eliminated. At the gate of the ninja school, many parents came to pick up their children. After knowing that their children successfully passed the examination, they praised them and their faces were full of happy expressions. Only Naruto looked depressed, sitting alone on the swing outside, enduring the pointing of some people. Ino quietly turned on the live broadcast function in the group so that Tiantian and Karen could also see this picture. Yamanaka Ino. I didn't notice it before, but now it seems that Naruto is quite pitiful. Hyuga Hinata. Haruno Sakura. Okay, I won't say bad things about him in this situation. But according to the content in the future video, Naruto finally passed the test. How did he do it? In both future videos, there are scenes of graduates gathering and dividing into classes, but neither of them explains why Naruto was able to get the ninja forehead protector. Tenten. He is just not good at clone technique, but according to Naruto's later performance in the future video, he is definitely qualified to become a genin. So, the school should have arranged a special test for him, and then he passed it. Just like the team that Tenten is in, there is also a Shaoli who can't do ninjutsu or genjutsu. It stands to reason that he can't pass the graduation test of the ninja school. But Shaoli is outstanding in physical skills, and finally graduated as an exception. Karen, who is in Kusagakur village, didn't say anything, but when she saw this scene, her eyes were full of envy. Naruto just failed the test and was ignored. Karen didn't even have the chance to go to school, and now she is being treated as a humanoid spirit on the battlefield, and anyone can take a bite. In comparison, she is much more miserable than Naruto. After leaving the ninja school, Mumu didn't join in the fun at the school gate, nor did he go to the place where Mizuki fooled Naruto. Since Karen joined the harem, he has been in a bad mood. He has inferred from the original plot that Karen is now taken to the battlefield by the Kusagakur ninja. It was also during this period that many tooth marks were left on her body. It was not until the joint Chunin exam of Konoha began that Karen's situation improved a little. Mumu couldn't change this situation because it was happening. Even if he has absolute power now and rushes to Kusagakur village, he can't eliminate the tooth marks on Karen's body. Unless it is to reverse time and space. This can only wait until later, and find a way to solve it from the future video. What Mew Mew is thinking about now is that he has to rescue Karen as soon as possible and then give Kusagakur village a good beating. Karen's revenge, and Karen's mother's revenge, will be avenged by Mew Mew. Ah, where is the group leader? Tiantian shouted frantically on the streets of Konoha. She had just said in the group that she wanted Ino to introduce her to Mumu. But the two had already walked around several streets and still couldn't find Mumu. Tiantian complained to Ino. You guys left school together, how come you didn't notice where the group leader went? Ino also said helplessly. I was looking for him with you, wasn't I? How could I know he left so soon and didn't go home? Ino knew that Mumu didn't have many social circles, so now she didn't know where to find him except trying her luck on the street. But at this time, Mumu was not on the street. After coming out of the ninja school, he walked forward casually while thinking about how to rescue Karen. When he came to his senses, he found himself in a relatively secluded grove, and it seemed that he was being followed. If it was the previous Mumu, he really couldn't find a tail hanging behind him. However, he activated the 2 Magatama Sharingan in the morning, and even if he hadn't studied it carefully, his attributes and senses in all aspects were greatly enhanced. The person following him behind him was not professional, so he was easily discovered. Mew Mew secretly used Sharingan to observe, and was stunned after confirming the other party's identity. It was her. Unexpected, but reasonable. Mew Mew suddenly quickened his pace and left the place in a few flashes. The person following him behind was stunned for a moment, and with the cover of the tree trunk, he poked out a little head and looked around. Are you looking for me? Mew Mew's voice came from behind her. Ah, the latter was frightened and screamed, and immediately shrank behind the tree trunk. How could she expect that in just a short moment, Mew Mew had circled around and came behind her? Mew Mew looked at her with a funny face, but he didn't rush to get close. There was no way, this little girl was too thin-skinned, and she turned into a steam princess at any time. Hinata, what do you want to do by following me? Mew Mew asked from a distance. That's right, the person who followed him like a nympho was Hinata. That, Hinata lowered her head, facing her fingers, and said hesitantly, I didn't. Because of what happened this morning. Miu Miu revealed her thoughts, and then said, I said before that I'm sorry for being rough with you, but that was the best way to keep it secret in a hurry. Now that I think about it, I do feel a little sorry for you. After all, you didn't mean it. Hinata opened her mouth, and the little anger left in her heart dissipated in an instant. She was not a person who cared about trivial matters. Faced with Miu Miu's sincere attitude, plus the existence of the harem, she could not take the initiative to hurt Miu Miu. In this case, how could she blame him? Or I will be responsible for you. Before Hinata could think of what to say, Miu Miu spoke again. Hinata was a little confused, not quite understanding what Miu Miu meant by this. Miu Miu smiled and said, let me be your boyfriend, or you be my girlfriend, so that our previous kiss becomes reasonable. Girlfriend. Kiss. Hinata's face turned red, and she instantly turned into a steam girl, her eyes turned into curled eyes, and her body fell backwards uncontrollably. Such a personality. Miu Miu was suddenly at a loss whether to laugh or cry. I haven't said anything explicit yet, but Hinata can't hold it anymore. How can I date someone in the future? Miu Miu sighed inwardly, and flashed to Hinata's side to support her. Stop. Let her go. However, at this moment, a delicate cry sounded, and then a figure rushed towards them quickly. Miu Miu turned his head and saw a little loli in a kimono. She was agile and quick. When Miu Miu saw her and recognized her identity, she had already rushed in front of him, jumped high, and slapped Miu Miu with one palm. Isn't this my sister-in-law Hanabi? Her personality is indeed much stronger than her sister. Miu Miu praised secretly, picked up Hinata and quickly retreated, avoiding the attack of my sister-in-law. I told you to let her go. Hanabi missed the attack and was a little surprised, but she didn't stop at all and immediately chased after him. Miu Miu found that someone else came not far away, and it seemed that he was also from the Hyuga clan. In order to avoid misunderstanding, Mumu let Hinata go after avoiding Hanabi's attack again, letting her fall towards Hanabi. Sister. Hanabi could only support Hinata first and gave up chasing. Mumu stepped back a distance and looked at little Hanabi with interest. Hanabi was only 7 years old at this time, her appearance had not grown up yet, and her body was very thin. She looked like a little girl with yellow hair. However, the 2 attacks she just made on him were really powerful. If Mumu had not activated Sharingan, he might not have been able to beat her. Ms. Hanabi, what happened to Miss Hinata? A girl with white eyes in a maid outfit hurried over, looking a little anxious. Her name is Hyuga Shaw, from the Hyuga branch house, and also a maid of the main family, responsible for taking care of Hanabi. I went out with Hanabi just now, but I didn't expect Hanabi to run away in the blink of an eye, and I almost lost her. I finally caught up with her and saw this scene in front of me. If anything happened to Hanabi and Hinata, she would definitely be severely punished. Fortunately, Hinata recovered and woke up slowly. Hanabi's anxious expression relaxed a little, and she asked hurriedly, Sister, how are you? Hanabi. Hinata's reaction was a little delayed, and she asked curiously, why are you here? Hanabi helped Hinata steady herself, then turned to Miu Miu vigilantly and said, Sister, did that guy bully you just now? Hanabi saw Hinata hiding from Miu Miu from a distance, and then Miu Miu seemed to say something, and Hinata fell down. She subconsciously regarded Miu Miu as a bad guy who wanted to bully Hinata, and immediately rushed over, so fast that Hyuga Shaw couldn't catch up at all. Hinata followed Hanabi's gaze to Miu Miu, and immediately remembered what Miu Miu had said to her before, and couldn't help but let out another exclamation, and her pretty face flushed again. Is that so? Hanabi misunderstood again and rushed towards Mumu again. This time, she used Gentle Fist directly, and gritted her teeth and shouted, If you dare to bully my sister, I will not forgive you. Miss Hanabi, Hyuga Shaw exclaimed, but she was a step too slow to stop Hanabi. She also thought that Mumu bullied Hinata, but Hanabi was too young. If she encountered such a thing, she should report it and let the family handle it. But Hyuga Shaw was not a ninja. Hanabi had already attacked at this time, and she couldn't stop it even if she wanted to. Facing Hanabi's fierce attack, Mumu didn't dare to block it casually without opening Sharingan, and could only continue to choose to avoid it. He smiled bitterly in his heart, is this little girl so fierce? She didn't even give people a chance to explain. Hanabi, stop it. Hinata quickly came to her senses and hurriedly called Hanabi to stop. During this time, Hanabi hit 3 gentle fists in total, forcing Miu Miu to stagger and almost fall down. Fortunately, Hanabi obeyed Hinata's words. Although she was still a little angry, she quickly retreated. The time for her to activate cheat was too short, and she was actually bullied by a little girl. Miu Miu secretly made a note of this account and would definitely take revenge when she had the chance. Just pull her into the group system space and punish her more severely than little Sakura. As for whether little Hanabi will join the harem group, Miu Miu has no doubt at all. Oh, all the famous beauties in the ninja world are my. Sorry, Mumu-kun. Hinata blushed and apologized to Mumu. Hanabi is still young and impulsive. I hope you don't bother with her. Sister, Hanabi said a little unhappy. It was obviously he who bullied you first. That's not the case, Hanabi. Hinata explained quickly. You misunderstood. Mumu-kun is my classmate, it was just an accident. Is that so? Hanabi tilted her head, still a little skeptical. But since her sister said so, Hanabi, who was obsessed with her sister, finally chose to believe it. Okay. Hanabi shrugged and apologized to Mumu. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you just now. Mumu smiled. He was not strong enough now, and Sharingan could not be used openly, so he had to bear the loss. Of course, the opponent was only a cute little guy like Hinata and Hanabi. What if he changed to a big guy who picked his feet? Mumu would definitely find a way to scatter the opponent's ashes. Just as Miu Miu was about to be polite and show his magnanimous side. Hanabi added, you and my sister are classmates, which means you have graduated from the ninja school today. Is this your level? Too weak, too weak. She had a very obvious look of disgust on her face. Without waiting for Miu Miu to reply, she turned around and took Hinata's hand and said, Sister, let's go home. There is no need to have too much contact with such a weak person. Miu Miu's face was instantly black, and he gritted his teeth secretly. He even thought about whether he should risk using Sharingan and teach this little girl a lesson. But in the end, he still forced himself to endure it. There is no rush to teach little Hanabi a lesson, it can be done in a few days. But if Sharingan is exposed, it is easy for him to not even stay in Konoha. Hinata can be trusted. After the little Hanabi is taught a lesson, he can also keep it secret through Hinata. But there is another Hyuga Sha at the scene, this is definitely not fooling, and he has no means to control people now. Hinata wanted to speak again, but Hanabi forcibly pulled her away, so she could only turn around and give Miu Miu an apologetic expression. However, after Hanabi's disturbance, Hinata's shame was much reduced. She secretly wondered whether what Miu Miu said just now was true or false, and whether he really wanted to date her. If Miu Miu was serious, should she agree? Logically speaking, there was no emotional foundation between the two of them. But if the object was Miu Miu, Hinata would always think of the wedding scene she saw before joining the chat group. And she had deliberately avoided Miu Miu in the morning, but the same thing happened as in the future video. This made Hinata begin to lean towards the idea that fate could not be changed. Since she would marry Miu Miu sooner or later, would it be possible to get the benefits of the chat group earlier if she got along with him earlier? Ding! Congratulations to group member Hyuga Hinata, the level has been upgraded from LV1 to LV2. The gain effect has been increased from 200% to 250%. Just then, a prompt sound came from the chat group. Yamanaka Ino, Tiantian, Hinata, what did you do? Haruno Sakura, why did you suddenly break through? Hyuga Hinata, I don't know. Hinata was a little confused. She could clearly feel that when the group system issued a prompt, the power in her body increased a lot without any warning. But Hinata has always been a weak character. No matter how strong she is, she can't see any changes on the surface. As for why she suddenly upgraded, she had some guesses. This matter must be related to Miu Miu. Although she had contacted and kissed in the morning, she was passive at that time and had resistance in her heart. Not only did the relationship not get closer, but there was even more estrangement. But after what happened just now, Hinata let go of her grudges and was still thinking about whether to date Mumu. Such an obvious change means that her relationship with Mumu has become much closer than before. So, this is the reason why she broke through. Yamanaka Ino. Tell me the truth, were you with Mumu-kun just now? Tenten. We couldn't find the group leader anywhere, but we didn't expect that Hinata, the most honest person in the group, would steal his home. Woo, so sad. Hyuga Hinata. I didn't. Uzumaki Karen. We are all sisters, so we should talk it out. I think we should integrate the clues first and find out the reason for the level increase, so that we can have a direction when we want to upgrade in the future. Yamanaka Ino. Oh, okay. Hinata, tell me the truth, I will never blame you. Tenten. Karen is right, upgrading is still the most important thing. Hinata, tell me. Haruno Sakura. Hinata, you know me, I won't blame you, but I also want to know how to level up. Hyuga Hinata. Hyuga Hinata. I just met Mumu-kun, he said he would take responsibility for what happened this morning, and then. There's no way, Hinata is not a person who will lie. Being confronted by the girls, she can only tell the truth. Result. Yamanaka Ino. You are with Mumu-kun after all. Hinata, you disappoint me so much. Tenten. Hinata, you really cheated. You are the one I trust the most. Hyuga Hinata. Haruno Sakura. Enough of you two. Hinata didn't do anything wrong, have you considered her feelings when you said that? Uzumaki Karen. At least you are in the same village, you can meet Mumu-kun anytime, I envy you the most. Yamanaka Ino. It's just a joke, Hinata, don't take it seriously. Tiantian. I was joking too. If I really want to be with the group leader, I must accept everyone. But I'm not mentally prepared for this right now. I just want to get to know the group leader first and improve my strength. Hinata finally breathed a sigh of relief when they said that. She was really scared just now. She thought Ino and Tiantian were going to have a falling out with her. Hyuga Hinata. I think that if you want to level up, you should have contact with Mumu-kun. The better the relationship in real life, the higher the level. Well, this is my personal guess. Yamanaka Ino. I obviously contacted him yesterday and had a good chat. How come I didn't level up? It's really unfair. Tiantian. Ino, you. Yamanaka Ino. Oops, I accidentally let it slip, hehe. Miu Miu could see the conversation in the chat group clearly by peeping at the screen. After all, he was the group leader and had much more information than the girls in the group. Hinata was able to upgrade because she had become closer to him and began to recognize Miu Miu from the bottom of her heart. Ino also met him yesterday and seemed to be talking and laughing on the surface. But in fact, Ino still had the mentality of a legitimate daughter of a family facing a commoner towards Miu Miu. She took the initiative to approach Miu Miu. To put it nicely, she wanted to establish a good relationship in advance and give timely help. To put it bluntly, wasn't it just a charity from the proud to the frustrated? Of course, Miu Miu would not have any opinion on Ino because of this. After all, the two sides were not familiar with each other. If there was no interest involved, how could Miu Miu's conditions make these girls approach him on their own initiative? Seeing that Tian Tian was also trying to get close to him, Miu Miu was not in a hurry to meet her. It was getting late now. In a little while, Naruto would go to the Hokage building to steal the Book of Seals. Miu Miu, who has read the original novel, knows very well that the Book of Seals that Naruto got is probably fake. It is also possible that the important forbidden techniques in it are all sealed and require special methods to decrypt. Therefore, even if he snatches the Book of Seals from Naruto, Miu Miu knows that he can't get much benefit, but will put himself in danger and be noticed by the third generation. But it is the Book of Seals after all, and it is the Book of Seals in Naruto's hands. The opportunity is rare. Even if there is only a 1 in 10,000 chance of seeing more forbidden techniques, Miu Miu wants to try it. At worst, it's not bad to get a multiple shadow clone. When wood style is activated, the chakra volume explodes, and the multiple shadow clone can be used as a cheat. Of course, he can't just run over and tell Naruto to show him the Book of Seals. Fortunately, Miu Miu had already thought of a solution. He first found a place to solve the dinner problem, and then caught a few nocturnal birds in the woods and controlled them directly with Sharingan. Use Sharingan to control low IQ creatures and let them read the sealed book. Mew Mew can use Sharingan to copy what they see later. With Naruto's current level, a few small animals approaching will definitely not attract his attention. As for the third generation, there is definitely no problem with the crystal ball. Perfect. The plan went according to plan, and Mew Mew went home early. The several nocturnal birds controlled by him were divided into several directions, staring at the Hokage building remotely without blind spots. As long as they wait for the target to appear, they will follow, and Mew Mew doesn't have to worry about these. Unfortunately, Sharingan is not a heart-turning technique. Even if he controls a few nocturnal birds, Mew Mew can't monitor them remotely through them, and can only wait for news at home. The main reason is that his strength is too weak now, and he has no means. Even with Sharingan, he may not be a match for Iruka and Mizuki. Not to mention that there are still a lot of Anbu active in secret. If Mumu dares to approach that restricted area now, he will be exposed at any time. For a better life in the future, it is better to hide when it is time. However, there are too few entertainment projects in this world, and Mumu doesn't even have a TV at home. Out of boredom, he can only turn on the remote video function of the group system and secretly take a look at the private life of the four flowers of Konoha, which is quite enjoyable. As for Karen, Mumu has not seen even a glance until now. He is afraid that he will see some scenes that will make him lose control of his emotions. Soon, Mumu murmured, "Wait for the refresh in the early morning, and the next one will be arranged for you. Hold on for a few more days." Mumu sincerely sympathizes with Karen's experience. So he would definitely spare no expense to get Karen out of the sea of suffering as soon as possible. With his chaotic thoughts, Mumu finally got back the night birds that he controlled. He couldn't monitor remotely before, but after the night birds came back, he could read their memories through Sharingan. Because Mumu didn't intervene, the plot still developed the same as the original. Naruto sneaked into the Hokage building in the dead of night, stole a huge scroll in a short time, and ran to the woods to study it. Several night birds approached quietly, and as Mumu expected, Naruto didn't pay attention at all. So the contents of the seal book were also picked out from many angles by those night birds. Alas, it's true. Through the memory of the night birds, Mumu also saw the contents of the seal book clearly. As he expected, there was only one multiple shadow clone technique, and the rest were all in a sealed state. However, because he had expected it, Mumu was only slightly disappointed. At least with a shadow clone, his strength can be enhanced. Through Sharingan copying, it is not difficult to practice this ninjutsu, and Mew Mew mastered it in a few moves. But now his chakra is limited, and he can only divide 2 shadow clone at most, and it can't last too long. Fortunately, wood style can be activated tomorrow, and then it will soar into the sky. The sea is wide for fish to leap, and the sky is high for birds to fly. In the sequel of The Memory of the Night Bird, what happened to Naruto is basically the same as the original. Mew Mew has watched the anime many times and is familiar with the plot. Now it is a different taste to watch it as a live-action movie. After finally making it to the early morning, the group system prompted that the ability to fabricate the future was refreshed. Mew Mew was refreshed and finally became excited again. "Karen, from now on, I am your Prince Charming and the hero of your life." Mew Mew was excited and began to transform the content he had conceived during the day into a future video through the group system. Soon, the production was completed, the missing parts were checked and pushed. Ding! The group system pushed a future clip, Future Video 3, Avi, which has been saved to the group file. At the same time, the 4 flowers of Konoha and Karen, who was far away in Kusagakur village, received a system prompt. Tiantian, it's this time, I didn't miss it this time. Yamanaka Ino, hehe, you can be slow in eating, but you must be the first to watch the future video. Haruno Sakura, wow, I'm so sleepy, why do you have to push it in the middle of the night? Hyuga Hinata, I don't know whose future this time is about. What surprised Mumu was that the 4 flowers of Konoha were actually squatting, and only Karen was absent. When I was monitoring remotely before, I clearly saw them go to bed. But Mumu quickly reacted. It seems that the push time of the last future video too made them notice it. So earlier, they slept for a while in advance, and then waited until this time to get up and squat. Sure enough, those who can leave traces in the original plot are not easy to deal with. And with a few beautiful girls watching videos with him, Mew Mew will not be so lonely tonight. Soon, everyone in the group clicked on the future video. Future video 3 started playing. In the video, Mumu was summoned to the Hokage's office. It turns out that the third generation knew that he used a clone when he was monitoring Naruto, so they were going to give him another mission. Based on the clues above, we can infer that the current timeline is during the D-level mission of Team 7. We will probably have to wait until Mumu finishes this mission and then take on the joint mission of Team 8 and Team 10, and then Team 7's mission in the Land of Waves. The third generation did not mention the mission assigned to Mumu in the video. Soon Mumu retreated, and several figures came into the office. They were Team 3 led by Might Guy, and Tenten's team. Tenten. Ha, it's finally my turn. I've waited for so long and finally waited until today. I've dreamed for so long and finally, cough cough, it seems that Mumu's mission overlaps with mine. We should have some intersections, right? Yamanaka Ino. I'm not happy. He's ahead of me. Does it mean that the later you appear, the earlier you will come into contact with Mumu? Haruno Sakura. It should be just a coincidence. Don't forget that Hinata has already contacted Mumu this morning. Yamanaka Ino. Ah, don't mention this to me. My Mumu-kun's Chuin is gone. Hyuga Hinata. The video screen continues. The Guy class received the task because the Konoha joint Chunin examination is about to begin. As messengers, they escorted the relevant documents to the grass country Kusagakur village to discuss the Chunin examination. The Guy class is in the open, and Mumu is in the dark. But it is obvious that the Guy class does not know the existence of Mumu, and Mumu seems to have another mission. Soon, under the leadership of Chingchun and the protection of the hot-blooded Shaoli, the Guy class set off for Kusagakur village, and Mumu followed secretly. Yamanaka Ino. Kusagakur village. It seems to be where Karen is. Tiantian. Karen has just joined the group, and she is about to meet the group leader. Suddenly I wasn't so happy anymore. Haruno Sakura. At least Karen is much more normal than you guys. I really want to see Karen's living environment and what kind of person she is. Hyuga Hinata. I've never left the village before, but now I can see foreign countries through videos. It feels very strange. Yamanaka Ino. No, I think you just mentioned the Chunin exam. Tenten. This is an exam for Genin to become Chunin. As long as you pass the exam, you can become a Chunin. You all just graduated, so it has nothing to do with you. Tenten. This kind of exam is held twice a year, and you need a team of 3 to sign up together to participate. Our team should also participate in this exam. Tenten. But the Chunin exam is usually held within our village. This is the first time I've seen an exam jointly held with other villages. I think it will be very lively. In the past, Tenten would be a little nervous when she learned that it was a joint Chunin exam. But after joining the chat group, she had double the buff effect. With the improvement of strength, she naturally became more confident. Even if it was to join forces with Chunin, she was not afraid at all. Haruno Sakura. What a pity, I missed such a lively scene, but who made us just become Genin? Senior Tiantian, remember to live broadcast the whole process when the time comes. Tiantian. No problem, it's not bad to give you some experience. Yamanaka Ino. We may not be unable to participate in the Chunin exam with our current strength, right? Don't forget that everyone has buff effects. Hinata has also increased to 250. Hyuga Hinata. Haruno Sakura. Ino, are you a pig? Didn't Senior Tiantian say that you have to sign up as a team of 3 to participate? Haruno Sakura. If it was my Team 7, with the genius Sasuke-kun and the unexpected number 1 Naruto, I could give it a try, but you know the situation of your team better. Yamanaka Ino. A salted fish, a fat pig. Kill me. The video continues. The group arrived at Kusagakur village without any delay or accidents. The Guy class completed the meeting with the leader of Kusagakur village step by step, and the other party also said that they would send a team to Konoha to participate in the Chunin exam. The Guy class's mission is over and they can return to the village. However, they found that the atmosphere in Kusagakur village was very strange. Everyone was very wary of them and urged them to leave as soon as the mission was completed. The Guy class pretended to leave on the surface, but hid their identities halfway and ran back. Ninjas should focus on their missions and should not make unnecessary troubles. But in special circumstances, they can also be handled specially. Who knows if Kusagakur village is planning something that is unfavorable to Konoha? Since you have seen it, you should investigate it clearly. However, before they returned to Kusagakur village, they were stopped by Miu Miu, who was following them secretly. Mumu told them that the Kusagakur village was at war with the neighboring country, and it was normal for some people to be wary of them. Mumu asked the Guy class to return to Konoha as soon as possible and not to meddle in other people's business. Might Guy, who always acted on the instinct of a beast, had a rare moment of intelligence and pointed out that Mumu came to investigate the war situation. Then he said that he was too young and it was too dangerous to go alone, so he asked the Guy class to temporarily serve as his guards. Mumu refused. He was Anbu, how could he hide if he had to find guards? But he couldn't stand being dragged to the border by Guy and Shaoli, and he didn't even have a chance to object. Yamanaka Ino. Tenten, are your teammates and teachers so weird? I really learned something new. Haruno Sakura. Those thick eyebrows, green tights, I feel so disgusting. Tenten. So embarrassing. Hyuga Hinata. There is a war going on in Kusagakur village, so Karen is not. Haruno Sakura. Yep, Karen never mentioned that before. Yamanaka Ino. Maybe she didn't want us to worry, and she is the same age as us, at most she is just a genin, she can't play any role in the war. Haruno Sakura. That's true, I hope she is not affected. Yamanaka Ino. Yamanaka Ino. Tenten, what are your teachers going to do to Mumu-kun? Tenten. I don't understand it either. Hyuga Hinata. I have a bad feeling. The video continues. The scene changes. Mumu and Guy's class have appeared at the border of Kusagakur village, which has long been reduced to a scorched earth. The Kusagakur and the neighboring ninjas are ready to fight, soldiers against soldiers, generals against generals, and they attack each other non-stop, a very primitive way of war. But the destructive power of ninjas is much greater than that of ordinary people. There are also various ninjutsu and detonating tags, which blow up almost no intact land around. The battlefield is full of blood, limbs, and corpses, which makes the three guys in Guy class feel sick. Mu Mu's situation is also not good, but he has been mentally prepared. He used Sharingan to give himself a psychological hint in advance, so that he can see the scene in front of him just like watching a TV movie. Later, Miu Miu realized that the reason why Might Guy insisted on coming together was to train the psychological endurance of several subordinates and do special training for the Chunin exam in advance. Haruno Sakura. Show me this in the middle of the night. Yamanaka Ino. Hiding in the bed and shaking like a lewd person. Tenten. Sleep with me at night, if you agree, I will summon you. Tenten. I refuse. Although I am also scared, but what Guy-sensei said is right. As a ninja, you must get used to this kind of thing. Now I can't stand it just through the screen, wouldn't it be worse if I were there in person? Hyuga Hinata. Hinata really wanted to say, why don't I sleep with you, Ino? But she really couldn't say such words. Before she could muster up the courage, Ino suddenly changed the subject. Yamanaka Ino. Tenten is right, for Mumu-kun, I will defeat myself. But it would be great if I could summon Mumu-kun. Haruno Sakura. Do you still want to sleep with Mumu? Yamanaka Ino. What's wrong with that? I am his future wife, it is reasonable and legal. Anyway, his tools can't be used now. Ino muttered to herself, at most he would just be touched a few times. If she sacrificed this, she could also improve her group level, so why not? Of course, Ino was just used to talking nonsense in the group chat. If she really encountered such a thing, it was still unknown whether she could risk it. The video screen continued. The purpose of Miu Miu being sent here by the third generation was indeed to investigate the details of this war and the damage on both sides of the war. Since the Guy class temporarily served as Miu Mu's guards, they naturally helped to record and investigate. Then not long after, they found that many wounded soldiers on the Kusagakur side quickly returned to their original state after retreating. At first, I thought there were some particularly powerful medical ninjas in Kusagakur village. As I investigated in depth, I finally found Karen, who was treated as a human-shaped pill. Yamanaka Ino. Tiantian. Haruno Sakura. WTF. Hyuga Hinata. The four girls were so shocked that their heads were buzzing. The video screen continued. After seeing this scene, the three guys in Guy's class almost couldn't help but rush out to kill people. Fortunately, they were stopped by Mew Mew, and Guy also stopped them in time. Rushing out now may save people, but then what? Their identities are exposed, and intervening in other countries' wars without a suitable reason is equivalent to declaring war. Although Konoha doesn't have to be afraid of these two small ninja villages, Guy's class can't represent Konoha after all. Besides, even if they really want to save people, they have to find out the situation and understand the other party's identity and situation before making a decision. Guy recognized Karen as a member of the Uzumaki clan by her red hair and that abnormal chakra physique. When no one was around, they quietly approached Karen and asked her about the situation. But at that time, Karen looked dead silent, and turned a deaf ear to their questions. After hiding his identity, Mew Mew secretly captured a Kusagaku ninja and interrogated him, and learned about Karen's past and the tragic experience of Karen's mother from the Kusagaku ninja. This incident made everyone in the Guy class very angry, and Tiantian even shouted to bring Karen back to Konoha. But this is definitely not the way to go. If we take Karen back by force, Konoha will be in the wrong, and Karen will never be able to show her true face again. So, if we want to save Karen, we must think of a way to have the best of both worlds. Haruno Sakura. Human-shaped pill. How can they say such things so calmly? Are they human? Yamanaka Ino. I am so angry. How can there be such assholes in this world? Tiantian. They are not human, they are beasts. Karen's mother was just bitten to death by them, and they immediately let Karen take her place. I can't imagine how desperate Karen must be. Haruno Sakura. No, I really can't accept this. Let Karen summon us tomorrow. Tiantian. Calm down. We can't do anything by ourselves. Let's see how the group leader will deal with it in the video. Hyuga Hinata. Karen is so pitiful. The video screen continues. I want to join the ninjas of the neighboring country and help them win the war. After thinking for a long time, Mew Mew decisively told Guy's class and others about his decision. Mew Mew's words shocked Guy's class, and then he heard Mew Mew talk about his plan. He wanted to cause as much damage to the Kusagaku village as possible and then lose the war. Borrowing the name of helping the neighboring country, after the neighboring country wins, when negotiating the war compensation, he will ask for Karen. After that, through a model similar to money laundering, Karen changed hands several times and finally joined Konoha. But Konoha needs Guy, an elite Jonin, to guarantee in front of the third generation, so that Karen can be brought back to the village without worries. Guy has no objection to this, but he thinks that it is difficult for Mew Mew alone to influence the direction of a war, unless he, an elite Jonin, is added. Elite Jonin is definitely a nuclear bomb level existence in such a small country and village. However, Mumu did not agree. After all, Guy's name is still very loud in the ninja world, and it is easy to be exposed. Mumu was originally a member of Anbu, and hiding his identity is his forte. In order to reassure Guy, Mumu privately showed him his wood-style ability. Guy was sure that he would not be in danger even if he failed to complete the task, so he let him go alone. Of course, Guy's class is not incapable of doing everything. They hide in the dark and secretly trip up the Kusagaku village. Without revealing their identities, they try to cause damage to the Kusagaku village. Because the Kusagaku village abused Karen so much, everyone had no good feelings towards them, and naturally there would be no psychological burden to do something dirty. Mumu changed his identity and joined the Linguo camp, using earth style and water style to cover up wood style, killing a large number of Kusagaku ninjas. And under his command, the Linguo ninjas began to use strategies to kill a large number of Kusagaku ninjas. With 3 measures in hand, the Kusagaku side was soon defeated and raised the white flag in surrender. The neighboring ninja village did not break its promise and forced the Kusagaku village to help Mumu get Karen. Yamanaka Ino. Nice. You are worthy of being my Mumu-kun, happy ending. Tiantian. Strong, intelligent, handsome, and full of justice, is there a man more attractive than the group leader? I feel like I have fallen. Haruno Sakura. I also support Mumu this time, it is really amazing. Hyuga Hinata. Karen is freed, so happy for her. Yamanaka Ino. Speaking of which, no wonder Karen will be so obsessed with Mumu-kun in the future. Her tragic fate was reversed by Mumu-kun, and she will practice such a powerful technique in the future. I am afraid that Mumu-kun will help her. Tiantian. Well, now that you put it like that, I can't object to her being with the group leader. Yamanaka Ino. Let's put things in perspective. Saving Karen is imperative, but the matter with Mumu-kun must be treated separately. Tiantian. That's right. The group leader can only be mine. Yamanaka Ino. Mumu brought the guy class in this plot because, firstly, he wanted to treat everyone equally. 3 of the 4 flowers of Konoha have appeared in future videos, only Tenten has not, so she must be included. Secondly, it is no problem to bring Karen back to Konoha for temporary residence, but to give her a residence certificate, Mumu's weight alone is not enough. Even if he has wood style, after all, he has not grown up yet, so he has to find someone with enough prestige to help speak and guarantee. There are not many people who can help in this matter, including the heads of several major families and several elite jonin. After thinking about it, the most suitable first choice is Kakashi and Might Guy, and Asuma counts as half. Combined with the first reason, Mumu naturally chooses Might Guy. At this time, the video screen continues. After teaching the Kusagakur village a lesson and rescuing Karen, the guy class finally feels comfortable. After that, under Mumu's arrangement, several people carried out a big cleanup of Karen's identity. They first disguised themselves as Kusagakur ninjas and hijacked Karen from the ninja village of the Rinkoku region without telling the Kusagakur village. The Rinkoku ninjas caught up with them and a fight broke out between the two sides, but Karen slipped away quietly. During the process, they left behind several bodies of Kusagakur ninjas picked up from the battlefield, so I don't think they could find any loopholes. While Karen was escaping, she was unfortunately kidnapped by the wandering ninjas and sold to the human traffickers, who sold her to the land of fire. Karen pretended to be weak at first, and then found an opportunity to escape when no one was paying attention. While Karen was being chased, she happened to meet the guy class on their way back. The guy class rescued Karen and brought her back to Konoha after learning about her experience. When the time comes, let Konoha issue a statement to Kusagakur and the neighboring country, saying that Karen is a descendant of Konoha's ally, and Konoha wants to keep her and give a small compensation. Kusagakur and the neighboring country lost the people themselves, and Konoha is in the right, so they naturally can't say much and can only admit this loss. Tiantian. So amazing, you can calculate to this extent, you are worthy of being the group leader. Yamanaka Ino. So from now on, Karen is Konoha's own person. She has this relationship with Mumujun, and it feels like she is closer than us. Tiantian. It is imperative to rescue Karen, but she can forget about having any relationship with the group leader. Yamanaka Ino. Why does this sound so familiar? Should I add that Mumujun can only be mine? Haruno Sakura. It's comfortable, as long as Karen doesn't stay in Kusagakur village and get exploited. Hyuga Hinata. Yes, the video continues. Mumu's plan was completed smoothly, and after getting in touch with her and revealing her true feelings, Karen's eyes lit up, and she naturally cooperated with them. On the way, Tenten and Karen became sisters. Although neither of them had seen Mumu's true appearance, they had a great liking for him because of his performance. Especially for Karen, Mumu gave her a new life, so even if Mumu wanted to make some excessive demands on her, she would not refuse. The group returned to Konoha smoothly. Guy reported the mission according to the words agreed with Mumu at the beginning, concealing the fact that they had made trouble for Kusagakur village and assassinated Kusagakur ninjas. Everything else was basically the truth. Mumu also concealed the fact that he helped the neighboring ninjas to attack the Kusagakur ninja village, and then proposed to the 3rd generation to keep Karen, and Guy and the 3 guys from the Guy class would act as a guarantor. It was reasonable to leave an Uzumaki in the village without causing too much trouble, so the 3rd generation had no reason to refuse, and quickly arranged for Karen to have her identity certificate arranged. Karen's residence was arranged next to Mumu's house, which was originally a civilian area, so it was easier to arrange, and this was also Karen's own request. During this period, Tenten took Karen to the Konoha hospital and asked someone to help her remove the tooth marks on her body. However, the Konoha hospital could only slightly reduce the treatment, but could not remove it. And told them that if Tsunade, one of the Sanin, was still there might be a way. Karen herself was more open-minded. Being able to escape from the abyss of Kusagakur village was the greatest luck for her. Because Karen was just a human pill in Kusagakur village before, she had no systematic training. After coming to Konoha, she was arranged to be an auditor at the ninja school and first studied systematically for a period of time. The video ends here, and the screen gradually darkens. Yamanaka Ino. The time in this video is relatively short, only a few days before and after, but it is very refreshing to watch. Tenten. Is Karen and I the best friend in the village? It seems that I have to prepare and treat her well later. Haruno Sakura. Is your treatment serious? Karen is already miserable, don't really bully her. Hyuga Hinata. Now there is a chat group, everyone is a sister. Tenten. Don't worry, I'm just joking, I'm not a bad person. Yamanaka Ino. Actually, you can be a bad person, we don't mind, wide forehead, don't you think so? Haruno Sakura. Pighead Ino is right. Tenten, you are so careless, it's better to break the group rules. Bah, I accidentally let it slip again. Hyuga Hinata. Tenten. Humph, little Sakura has your punishment video posted on it. No matter how many new members join in the future, I'm afraid there won't be another one who makes a mistake. Haruno Sakura. I'm so miserable, I've become a negative example. It's simply Haruno Sakura's miserable fate. Little Sakura kept wailing in her heart, secretly determined to find a way to guide others and let them also taste the taste of being taught a lesson. Hyuga Hinata. Hey, there's more after the video. Yamanaka Ino. What, Tenten? You mean there's more after the video? Wasn't the screen black just now? I turned it off. Yamanaka Ino. Me too, I'll check it out again. Haruno Sakura. I turned it off too. Hyuga Hinata. It seems to be an Easter egg. Mumu-kun. He left a clone in Kusagakur village. The girls quickly opened Future Video 3 again and moved the progress bar to the black screen just now. Sure enough, after a few seconds, the screen lit up again. Video screen. After Mumu and Guy's class left Kusagakur village and rushed back to Konoha, a human-shaped piece of wood suddenly extended from the trunk of a big tree on a high mountain outside Kusagakur village. The next moment, the wood became angular and soon became the shape of Mumu. Kusagakur village. Mumu looked far in the direction of Kusagakur village, and the look behind the Anbu mask was a little cold. It's not enough to just make you lose the war. Let me collect some interest for Karen and her mother first. Earth-style super range earthquake. Mumu pressed his hands on the ground, and it was visible to the naked eye that an extremely huge amount of chakra flowed from his body into the earth and quickly spread towards Kusagakur village not far ahead. An invisible force is sweeping, as if an ancient beast is about to awaken underground. Boom. Chapter 31. Boom. A huge roar came from below the Kusagakur village, like a dragon turning over, and the entire Kusagakur village began to turn upside down. The Kusagakur village ninjas were completely confused. Before they could react, a large-scale earthquake began inside the village. The ground cracked and collapsed, and the buildings broke and collapsed. The wailing, screaming, and cries for help were endless. That is, they will not surpass Shinra, otherwise Miu Miu will have to carry rice for them. The leader of the Kusagakur village saw that someone had used a large-scale earth-style technique, but it was useless. He was powerless to stop it, and the Kusagakur village did not have a barrier that could intercept such ninjutsu. After the disaster, the entire Kusagakur village was in ruins, with countless casualties. There were not many people who could survive. At the same time, Miu Emu's clone, who was performing ninjutsu, also turned into a pile of wood because of the exhaustion of chakra. The video ends here completely, and the progress bar has reached the end. Haruno Sakura. He is venting his anger for Karen and her daughter. Isn't that too harsh? Yamanaka Ino. What are you talking about? No one in Kusagakur village is innocent. Tenten. Ino is right. Even if some people didn't bite Karen and her daughter, they didn't stop this from happening. They are definitely accomplices. Yamanaka Ino. Miu Miu-kun is so manly to fight for his beloved. But why isn't that beloved me? I'm so angry. Haruno Sakura. You can't be called a beloved. You are just a disaster at best. If you want Miu Miu to fight for you, why don't you experience Karen's experience first? Yamanaka Ino. I'll find Mew Mew-kun tomorrow and let him bite a few times to try. Haruno Sakura. Tenten. Hyuga Hinata. Haruno Sakura. I won't talk to you anymore, I'm so sleepy, I'm going to sleep. Hyuga Hinata. I'm going to sleep too, good night everyone. Tenten. Let's all sleep, we'll talk tomorrow, good night. Yamanaka Ino. Good night, I'm going to find my Mew Mew-kun in my dreams. Mew Mew, who has been peeking at the screen, feels that these girls are really interesting chatting. It's a pity that he can only watch and can't join, otherwise it will definitely be more interesting. System, can I change my vest to join the group chat? Mew Mew's heart moved, and suddenly thought of this idea. Ding! If a new member joins the group, the host chooses to reject it, and can use the other party's identity to join the chat group. Reject. Why should I reject? Then I will have one less wife. You can eat one less bowl of rice, but you can't lose a single hair of your wife. When Mew Mew heard that he had to reject new members before he could join the group chat with a vest, he immediately got angry. This is his Achilles heel. Mew Mew is still planning to complete the stamp collection of the entire ninja world. How can he lose one? Is there no other way? Mew Mew asked again without giving up. There are only 5 girls in the group now. When they chat, Mew Mew often has the urge to join. When the number of people increases in the future, this feeling will definitely be stronger, right? But he can't log in with his own identity. If the girls know that he is also in the group, it will definitely be impossible to maintain the current style. The best way is to open a vest. Ding! There is no other way. Mew Mew was speechless for a while. Broken system, rotten system, can't even fulfill a small wish of his own, and dare to say that it is the most suitable system for him. Of course, even though he thought so, Mew Mew had no intention of changing the system. Even if he could only peek at the screen, it was actually not bad. At worst, he could confront them later when he had enough power to do whatever he wanted. Uzumaki Karen. Uzumaki Karen. Mew Mew-kun. Mew Mew-kun. Mew Mew-kun. Uzumaki Karen. I love you, I love you, I love you so much. Uzumaki Karen. Can we meet in a few days? That's great. Early in the morning, before dawn, Karen started bombarding the group chat. The message notification was light but continuous, and it woke up everyone in the group. Tiantian. What's going on? It's so noisy. Hyuga Hinata. Karen is so excited. She must have finished watching the future video. Yamanaka Ino. I know you are anxious, but don't worry, let me sleep for a while. Haruno Sakura. It's over, another person has fallen. I am the only one in the group who is sober now. Hyuga Hinata. Actually, I also. Haruno Sakura. Shut up, you are the first one to betray me. Hyuga Hinata. Tiantian. Hinata is honest, don't forget that you are the first one to be stupid. Hyuga Hinata. Uzumaki Karen. I'm sorry to wake you up, but I was really excited. Yamanaka Ino. I understand. Next time I go to bed, I will turn on the do not disturb function. It's my own problem. Tiantian. Yes, you don't have to feel any psychological burden. I forgot to turn on the do not disturb function. Haruno Sakura. That's right. It's not you who is wrong, but the whole world. Hyuga Hinata. Uzumaki. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Yamanaka Ino. What can you do wrong? I just want to be with the one I love. I don't have any bad intentions. My brother loves you the most. He almost buried the whole Kusagakur village for you. Yamanaka Ino. Unlike me, I can't sleep in comfortably. No one loves me. I cry. Tiantian. Jingbao, you summon me over. Senior sister loves you. Tiantian. You really came. Stop it, don't do it randomly. Wait, it's not allowed there. Haruno Sakura. Hyuga Hinata. I feel so shy. Yamanaka Ino. I feel good, Tenten Senpai, you are a senior, but you are not even older than me. Tenten. Nonsense, I am obviously a little bit bigger than you. Yamanaka Ino. This is your illusion, or I can use a ruler to measure it. Tenten. Get lost. Anyway, I am just a little bit bigger than you. Haruno Sakura. Uzumaki. Hyuga Hinata. Actually. Yamanaka Ino. Hinata, go away. Tenten. Hinata, shut up. Haruno Sakura. Hinata, you have nothing to do with me. Hyuga Hinata. No, I want to say. Yamanaka Ino. No, you don't want to say it. Tenten. You don't want to say anything. Haruno Sakura. Hinata, be good, sleep a little longer. Yamanaka Ino. It seems like a flat guy sneaked in. Tiantian. What? Yell, I'm not the youngest. Haruno Sakura. Uzumaki Karen. It will grow. Yamanaka Ino. Karen. It was flat in the entrance CG, and the same with the wide forehead. You won't grow anymore. Wow, I feel comfortable, I feel really comfortable this time. Uzumaki Karen. Haruno Sakura. Tiantian. I feel comfortable too. Jingbao, hug me, let's sleep for a while. Tiantian. I'm asking you to hug me, not kiss me. Go away, I want to go home, I don't love you anymore. Miu Miu, who had been peeking at the screen and using remote monitoring, was furious. He could not calm down after enduring for a long time. He had no choice but to run to the bathroom to comfort himself and practice the art of fighting with both hands. Unfortunately, there were no mobile phones, no networks, and no resources in this world. It was really uncomfortable to do this, and he couldn't handle it for a long time. Then he remembered that this was completely a psychological effect, and his hardware was not up to standard at all. Che Sao Wei Mang. Miu Miu was injured. It was a kind of pain that made it impossible to breathe, and it was the biggest challenge to a man's dignity. Oh no, I'm not a man, just a happy and sunny little boy. Thinking of this, Miu Miu finally felt comfortable. After tossing for so long, he didn't have the heart to take a nap, so he washed up, simply moved his hands and feet, and studied Sharingan by the way. Influenced by the online novels in his previous life, I always think Sharingan is awesome. When making up the future to gain abilities, the first thing I thought of was it. But in fact, if it doesn't grow to the eternal eye, this thing is just like that. And because Sharingan is a forbidden weapon, it cannot be used openly, and the disadvantages outweigh the advantages, so he changed to wood style at the beginning. Although it was restored in the second future video, it is still useless now. I think it is better to wear glasses to cover it up like in the video. You can't just throw it in the warehouse to collect dust. Like when I met my sister-in-law yesterday, if I had a pair of glasses to cover it, I would have beaten my sister-in-law's buttocks. How could I tolerate her being so arrogant? Fortunately, wood style can be awakened today, and his future is bright. Miu Miu hummed a little song and enjoyed breakfast, handmade urinary pills, crystal shrimp dumplings, egg skin steamed buns, soy milk fried dough sticks. Before crossing, he was a Cantonese, especially liked tea snacks, and he also learned to make a lot of them. Basically, he can make whatever is sold in the tea house, and the taste is still very authentic. Coming to the Hokage world, the only thing that makes him nostalgic for his previous life is this appetite. After eating and drinking, it was time for the graduates to gather unknowingly. Nothing happened on the way this time, and Miu Miu arrived in the classroom ahead of time. Miu Miu, have you had breakfast? I wanted to bring you some on the way, but I didn't expect you to be here already. I brought a lot, why don't you eat here? As soon as Miu Miu entered the classroom, Ino arrived right after him, and she didn't shy away from other people at all, and came directly to Miu Miu, showing quite enthusiasm. Seeing that she was slightly out of breath, it was obvious that she ran directly to catch up with Miu Miu. I heard that she also went to her own home. Miu Miu was a little surprised, but not very surprised. After all, he is the leader of the Harem group, the future man of all group members. When the future video 3 was released last night, not to mention that a few little girls would be shocked, even Miu Miu, the fabricator, felt very proud. It was completely reasonable for Ino to behave like this. Thank you, Ino. Miu Miu smiled slightly and took the breakfast from Ino. Although he was already very full, how could he refuse a girl's intention? Seeing Miu Miu eating without hesitation and praising her cooking skills, Ino was indeed happy. This was a loving breakfast she made with Tiantian, and she wanted to get closer to Miu Miu by conquering his stomach. It is worth mentioning that Ino summoned Tiantian to her home, but that ability cannot send people back. So when Tiantian came out of Ino's room in the morning, Ino's parents were surprised. Of course, girls always have their own little secrets, and Ino's parents didn't ask questions and were fooled by them in a few words. Would you like to eat something together? Seeing Ino staring at him, Miu Miu felt a little uncomfortable even though he was thick-skinned, so he picked up some and handed it to Ino. It was just a joke to liven up the atmosphere. Unexpectedly, Ino nodded and said, "Okay," and took a bite without hesitation. This made Miu Miu stunned for a moment. He knew that Ino was an extrovert, but he didn't expect her to be so casual. Delicious. Ino swallowed the whole thing and said vaguely. Miu Miu couldn't help but smile and reached out to help her wipe the oil stains from the corners of her mouth. This time it was Ino's turn to be stunned, and her pretty face couldn't help but blush slightly. You take your time to eat, I'll go back to my seat first." After all, she was an inexperienced little girl, and she couldn't hold back the slightly intimate actions. Fortunately, there were not many people in the classroom, and everyone was busy with their own things, so no one noticed them. Because Ino kept secretly looking at him, Miu Miu had no choice but to force himself to finish the breakfast in his hand, and his belly was swollen. When he saw Miu Miu finished eating everything, Ino showed a happy expression again. Unknowingly, there were more and more people in the classroom, and Ino couldn't talk to Miu Miu anymore. After all, Mumu is just a nobody in the class, and they didn't have much interaction before. If Ino showed her familiarity with Mumu at this time, it would definitely attract a lot of attention, and she would have to spend a lot of time explaining. Soon, Naruto also came, and many people were surprised by his appearance. "No way, Naruto, why are you here? Aren't only those who have passed the graduation exam allowed to attend the briefing?" Being looked down upon, Naruto pointed at his forehead and said angrily, "Look, what is this?" Whose forehead protector did you steal? What are you talking about?" Naruto slammed the table and said excitedly, "Am I, Naruto, the kind of person who steals and cheats? I learned a super powerful ninjutsu, and I also saved Teacher Iruka. This was given to me by Teacher Iruka himself." "Ha ha ha, don't brag. You also saved Teacher Iruka. Who do you think you are? Maybe I stole it from someone. We'll know when everyone is here." The classroom suddenly burst into laughter. No one believed Naruto's words. They just regarded him as a clown. Miu Miu looked at those laughing people with pity. "I'm afraid that after today, many people will know that they are the clowns." Naruto, who was regarded as the last and the clown by them, started to rise straight from this moment. His strength became stronger and stronger, and his reputation became more and more famous, until he saved the whole ninja world, which made them far behind. And those who looked down on Naruto had to be sent back to school to retake classes, and it was uncertain whether they could become genin. Different people have different fates. No matter which world, fate is always so bizarre. You never know when someone you look down on from the bottom of your heart will far surpass you and leave you behind. At that time, you can only brag to your friends around you about how you played happily with him in the past. With great emotion in his heart, Miu Miu just acted as a bystander, witnessing this classic scene. Not long after, little Sakura quietly walked in from outside and chose a seat where no one was sitting. It was very strange that she didn't act crazy about Sasuke like in the original book, nor did she point fingers at Naruto. Little Sakura, she has grown up too. The classroom was noisy. Although many people doubted the origin of Naruto's forehead protector, they had no right to decide whether Naruto could stay. After making fun of him, they just ignored him. No one believed Naruto no matter what he said, and he was so angry that his forehead was about to smoke. The four flowers of Konoha were chatting happily with Karen in the chat group, and they didn't care about the situation in the classroom at all. When Ino mentioned that they were waiting for the class division in the classroom, and the situation was exactly the same as in the future video. "Uzumaki Karen, I really envy you. Can you start a live broadcast for me?" The girls now know Karen's situation and sympathize with her. Naturally, they will not refuse this small request. Thinking that they will be divided into classes later and leave with their team leaders, Sakura, Ino, and Hinata all started live broadcasts so that they can pass on information to each other. At this time, Iruka just came to the classroom, and everyone quieted down. Some of them looked at Naruto with a playful look, waiting for him to be driven out by Iruka. Unfortunately, they were disappointed. Iruka glanced at Naruto, and there seemed to be a trace of relief in his eyes, and he had no intention of driving him out. "From now on, you are independent ninjas." Iruka walked to the podium, like an old father watching his grown-up children going out for a trip. He was full of emotion, but couldn't help but remind him, however, you are still newcomers among genin. The real test is still behind. Some more emotional students couldn't help showing sadness on their faces. Teacher Uruka, I will come back to see you when I have time. One of the students couldn't help but say. Uruka smiled with relief, and was about to speak, when suddenly another student stood up. He pointed at Naruto and shouted, Teacher Uruka, Naruto was eliminated in the exam yesterday, but he stole someone's forehead protector and got in today. Should we kick him out first? We are all excellent students who have successfully passed the exam. How can we sit with such an eliminated last-place student? Our status is completely lowered. He was the one who laughed the loudest when he made fun of Naruto before. Although he was born in a common family, he always had a sense of superiority for some reason, that is, the legendary ordinary man. After Uruka came in, he had been waiting to see Naruto make a fool of himself, but Uruka didn't even mention it, and actually talked about other topics. In this case, he should take the lead, so that Naruto can't get away with it, right? As he finished speaking, several students who were unhappy with Naruto also echoed him. That's right, why should the eliminated last place guy sit here? I think we should first find out where he stole his forehead protector, and then punish him severely. Anyway, I don't want to sit with him. I feel like even the air is polluted. Some neutral students frowned when they heard this. Are these guys too arrogant? Uzumaki. That's too much. It seems that no matter where, everyone can't live in harmony. Yamanaka Ino. No, this chat group can do it. Haruno Sakura. Really, hasn't someone always planned to take Miu Miu for himself? Tiantian. Don't worry, I will keep an eye on her, and Jingbao won't succeed. Haruno Sakura. Jingbao, you two have a good relationship after sleeping together. Yamanaka Ino. Someone is jealous. But there is no way, a certain wide forehead had a chance, who told you not to cherish it? Haruno Sakura. Humph, I don't care. When a few girls were chatting enthusiastically, Naruto was squeezed and got so angry that he slammed the table and stood up. I've already said that the forehead protector was given to me by teacher Uruka himself, not stolen. Now that everyone is here, do you see anyone who has lost the forehead protector? Naruto shouted angrily. Who knows, maybe you took it from someone else, not necessarily someone in our class. A student said sarcastically, completely ignoring Uruka, whose face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. Enough, Uruka shouted and scolded. In my eyes, you are all just a bunch of rookies. In the eyes of the truly powerful, you can't even be called cannon fodder. Who is more noble than who? You are already arrogant before you officially become a ninja. If you act like this, you won't live for a few days after leaving Konoha. Uruka rarely gets angry, and scares the students in the class. Those who spoke loudly just now are now silent. What they don't know is that a group of Jonin and elite Jonin gathered in the Hokage office building at this time. They are the teachers who led the team after the class division. At this time, they were watching the whole process in the classroom through the crystal ball of the third generation. The Jonin who were assigned to those bear students frowned. Such a loser can also graduate. Let them see the cruelty of the ninja world later. The third generation looked relieved. Uruka's performance made him quite satisfied. He couldn't help but sighed. Through precepts and deeds, the will of the ancestors is passed on to the next generation. This is the will of fire. Where the leaves of Konoha fly, the fire will also continue. The flames will illuminate the village and let the new leaves sprout. Through this experience, I believe they will have a deeper understanding of the word, ninja. Uruka has inherited the will of fire and is indeed the most suitable teacher. The Jonin were stunned, really taking advantage of every opportunity to promote the will of fire anytime and anywhere, right? What happened at the ninja school has nothing to do with the will of fire. But who can blame him for being the Hokage? Hokage is right. Third generation is really amazing. I am still far behind. I didn't even think of this. A series of flattery made the third generation feel refreshed, as if they had drunk an iced soda in the hot August. Naruto passed my extra test to get the graduation qualification and forehead protector. Although it seems a bit of a backdoor, the content of his test has increased the difficulty, so don't be dissatisfied. After shocking the students, Iruka explained a few words, then waved his hand and said, "Don't talk about this matter anymore. Naruto's graduation test has been verified by the third generation. When the third generation becomes even greater, you can question this decision." What else can the students say after Iruka said this? The students who were jumping happily before felt uncomfortable as if they had eaten a fly, but they could only remain silent. After that, Iruka began to announce the class list, which was basically the same as the original. It also verified once again the authenticity of the future video in the chat group. Mew Mew, who was assigned to the 9th class, had a dark expression at this time. Because his two teammates were actually the ones who took the lead in despising Naruto before, and the other one was the first to agree. When editing the future video at that time, I just picked 2 extras at random. Anyway, they were all cannon fodder, and it didn't matter who they were, but I didn't expect it to be such a coincidence. Mew Mew had a hunch that the reason why their team leader sent them away in a few seconds was probably related to what happened just now. And Mew Mew was completely implicated. Team 9, Nakamura Takushi, Mew Mew, Ma Tongaizi, follow me. As the teams left one by one, it was soon the turn of Team 9 where Mew Mew was. Mew Mew almost couldn't hold back when he heard the names of his two teammates. Nakamura Twoshi, Toilet Lid, what kind of names are these? Putting himself between these two, what the hell? Forget it, they are just 2 insignificant extras anyway, so I don't bother to care so much. Mew Mew's team leader Jonin is also just an extra Jonin. He belongs to the kind of existence that is easily killed by a strong person passing by in the original book. Under the leadership of this Jonin, several people quickly came to a secluded training ground in the village. Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongaizi both seemed very excited. They thought they were already recognized ninjas now, and their faces were full of eagerness to try. The Jonin said with a sullen face, "My name is Baiya, Konoha Jonin, responsible for your genin assessment. If you pass my assessment, you can become a formal genin, and if you fail, you will return to the ninja school to retake it." Good guy. Mew Mew exclaimed, good guy. Just now it was Nakamura's shit and toilet lid, and now there is another fool, it's simply too much. Wait, unlike Mew Mew's weird focus, Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai heard that there was still a test, and they immediately became anxious. Nakamura Takushi was a little excited and asked, "Why? Didn't we take the test yesterday? Why do we need to take it again?" Ma Tongaizi followed and said anxiously, "And if we don't pass, we have to go back to school to retake it. Then what are we working so hard to graduate for?" Baizai glanced at Mew Mew and found that he had nothing to say, so he said coldly, "Listen carefully, passing the graduation exam only means that you can leave the ninja school, but it does not mean that you are qualified to become a ninja. Among the 27 graduates, only 9 people can be recognized as genin, and the rest will be sent back to school for training. Also, you only have the right to accept the test or give up, and you have no right to refuse. I will give you 10 minutes to prepare, and then the 3 of you will have actual combat training with me. I will judge whether you can become genin based on your performance. Now, those who want to give up can raise it and then go back to the ninja school by themselves. When the countdown is over, the test will start directly, and it will be too late to give up by then." Baizai finished what he wanted to say in one breath, without giving them a chance to interrupt. After he finished speaking, he placed an hourglass next to him, turned around and kept silent. Nakamura Takushi cursed. "Teacher Iruka didn't tell us that there would be an assessment. Now he is completely forcing us to do it. We are not mentally prepared at all. It would be strange if we can perform well." Ma Tongaizi also said with a bitter face, "What should we do? Should we give up? This Jonin teacher seems to be difficult to get along with. Will he be ruthless to us during the actual combat assessment? Give up? How is it possible?" Nakamura Takushi gritted his teeth and said, "It's not easy to get to this point. Can you give up without even trying? And if you give up this time, what about next time? Don't you still have to pass the assessment before you can become a ninja?" Ma Tongaizi thought about it and agreed. "If you go back to school to retake the course, you will have to graduate again. After graduation, you will have to take the assessment again. In the end, won't you still be back here? Perhaps this test is not as difficult as we thought, there must be a trick." Nakamura Takushi thought for a moment and said, and he just said that there are 9 people who can be recognized as genin, and the passing rate is 33.33%. It's a little low, but it's not completely hopeless. Besides, my grades are usually in the top 8 in the class. If it's counted as 9 people, I will definitely pass. But I'm outside the top 10. Ma Tongai was panicked when he heard it. The two of them huddled together and whispered, and Miu Miu didn't care about them, just quietly waiting for the countdown to end. Anyway, he already knew the result, and just wanted to go through the motions, so his attention was basically in the chat group. At this time, except for the 7th team who was still bored in the classroom waiting for Hataki Wuwukai to arrive, Ino and Hinata's teams had already met with their team leader Jonin and introduced themselves. Their two teams did not continue Konoha's traditional bell-grabbing exercise. Both teachers were not the kind of formalists, and they fully understood their students' abilities before leading the team. As Tiantian said, they were all pre-selected. So at the beginning, Yuhi Kurenai and Asuma had already told them frankly that they were just going to have an all-out battle, and through actual combat, they would have a deep understanding of the students' strength, so that they could act together in the future. They didn't mention any assessments, nor did they say there would be any elimination. After they finished these preludes, the countdown on Mumu's side had also ended. Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongezi seemed to have reached a consensus. Seeing their half-hidden glances at Mumu, Mumu knew that they were trying to plot against him. Mumu sneered in his heart, but didn't care too much. With his defense, his physical fitness improved after opening the Sharingan was enough to beat the two of them. If they dared to attack him, don't blame him for sucking them dry later. Swish. At the moment the countdown ended, Bai Ya, who was not paying attention to this, instantly flashed between the 3 people. Without any warning or prompt, Bai Ya attacked the 3 people at the same time. He punched Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai with 2 fists, and kicked Miu Miu. Bang, bang, bang. 3 muffled sounds followed, and Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai were almost simultaneously screamed and thrown out. Although Miu Miu raised his hands to parry, he was still kicked back a distance by the opponent's huge force, and his hands were numb. Baya looked at Miu Miu with some surprise, and then, without waiting for Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai to protest, he said coldly, I told you before that when the countdown ends, the assessment will start directly. As a result, except for Miu Miu, you two were not prepared at all. If I were the enemy, you would have died just now. You can't be a ninja at this level. Now I'll give you another chance. If you are still so unbearable, I don't need to say more. Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai looked at each other, gritted their teeth, took out a few shurikens from their arms, and threw them at Bai Ya in 2 directions. But they didn't avoid Mumu. 2 shurikens hit Mumu before hitting Bai Ya. Bai Ya's original move to dodge was suddenly half a beat slower. Mumu knew that he wanted to see his reaction first. In fact, it was easy for Mumu to dodge these 2 shurikens, but he didn't want to continue playing with them here. So he pretended to be scared and didn't react at all. Bai Ya frowned, his figure flashed, and all the shurikens were easily knocked away by him. Then his figure flashed several times in a row, accompanied by the screams of Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai. Bang bang. Soon, Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai were thrown in front of Miu Miu, their bodies stacked together. Miu Miu subconsciously looked over, and felt a flash in front of his eyes. Bai Ya had appeared in front of him and punched him. Miu Miu just wanted to end this farce quickly, but he didn't want to be abused. If the other party was a cute girl, it would be okay to be bullied for a while, and at worst, she would retaliate later. But this kind of foot-picking big guy is spared. Bai Ya punched Miu Miu in the stomach, and wanted to throw him to Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai. The result was a bang, and Miu Miu's body turned into a wooden stake. Konoha-style body replacement technique. Bai Ya turned his head and looked not far away, and Miu Miu's figure reappeared over there. He seemed a little surprised and said, you have a good grasp of the timing, but why didn't those shurikens react before? Since you can use the body replacement technique to avoid his attack, there is no reason why you can't avoid those slower shurikens. Miu Miu scratched his head and said, I was not mentally prepared just now, so I reacted a little slowly. Bai Zai didn't think much about it, turned his head to look at Nakamura Takushi and the other person who had already climbed up from the ground, and said coldly, very good, you even attacked your companions, you really opened my eyes. Although the two were a little panicked, they obviously had thought of an excuse. Nakamura Takushi gritted his teeth and retorted, "Ninjas should put the mission first, right? We have been taught that in school." Baizai waved his hand and interrupted, "Here, I am the one who makes the rules. The weak have no say, so don't tell me anything. Your behavior makes me very dissatisfied. In my opinion, you are not even qualified to go back to the ninja school to retrain, and you should never become a ninja in this life. So, you are eliminated." After saying that, no matter how ugly Nakamura Takushi and the others looked, he looked at Miu Miu again. He also said with a cold face, "Your performance really surprised me a little. You are barely qualified to become a genin. It's a pity that you were dragged down by your teammates. If you want to become a ninja, the prerequisite must be a 3-person team. Even if I let you pass, it's useless, so you should go back to the ninja school to retrain. Luck is also part of strength. I hope you can find the right teammates next time. Now, disband." After saying that, Baizai turned around and left without any dragging his feet. "Wait a minute," Nakamura Takushi shouted unwillingly. "You are deliberately targeting me. I don't accept it." Baizai stopped and turned around, still looking at the other party with an expressionless face, as if giving him a chance to speak. Nakamura Takushi said with indignation, "Since school, both teachers and ninjas around us have told us that the ninja world is cruel. Many times, we have to do whatever it takes to achieve our goals, and necessary sacrifices are worth it. I know that my behavior just now is indeed a bit unkind, but the winner is the king and the loser is the enemy. If we can succeed, others will only see our victory. And the power and speed you used on me and Gazy are obviously much stronger than those on Miu Miu. Our performance is not as good as Miu Miu, this is your problem. If you insist on eliminating us, I will choose to appeal." Nakamura Takushi seemed to want to use this reason to force Baizai to compromise, and Ma Tonggazy also stood beside Nakamura Takushi with a firm face, indicating that he would advance and retreat with him. Baizai waited for him to finish, and a sneer appeared on his face. "Have you finished? I was thinking that you were just kids, so I gave you some leeway, but it seems that you don't want it anymore. A graduate student who is not even a ninja is threatening him, a dignified Konoha Jonin. How naive." Baya flashed in front of Nakamura Takushi and the other man again, and without saying a word, he raised his fist and started beating them, making them scream. Miu Miu was speechless when he watched this farce. How could he have met such a group of talented people? As a Jonin, he has no seniority at all, and only acts according to his own likes and dislikes. As a student, he also doesn't know his own position. He is stupid, but he dares to confront Jonin without strength. I can't stand it, I can't stand it. In boredom, Miu Miu felt an inexplicable feeling in his body, as if he was going to explode from the inside. Here it comes, my novice gift package is finally here. Miu Miu reacted immediately, and his face showed joy. Although Sharingan is strong, the help it brings to him in the early stage is almost zero. It can only be used as a life-saving trump card at critical moments and cannot be used at will. At least before he rationalizes this ability, he can't expose it to others. And even if he rationalizes it, he must be careful of the covetousness of Orochimaru and the like, and he must have the strength to protect himself. This is also because he didn't think carefully at the beginning. It would be better to get some other abilities earlier. But this is also human nature. You can make up your own abilities. Of course, you can make up whichever ability is good. You won't know whether it is practical until you get it yourself. This also reminded Miu Miu that when he fabricates abilities in the future, he should still be practical. Of course, although Wood Style is also a sealing ability and cannot be used casually in front of others, the situation is obviously different. After awakening Wood Style, 3rd generation will become his biggest backer, and this ability does not need to worry about the emergence of conspiracy theories at all. The elderly 3rd generation has not much time left, and he also wants to train a successor as soon as possible. Back to the point, Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tonggazy are still suffering from Bai Ya's beating. I don't know how much hatred and resentment they have, and they have swollen into pig heads in an instant. And Miu Miu, from the surface, became lost because of being eliminated. And because of the scene in front of him, he was irritable, and his expression gradually became a little hideous. Enough. Mew Mew could no longer suppress the ability that was about to break out of his body, and he suddenly roared with this force. Then, an extremely huge and strange energy gushed out. It was a huge amount of life breath mixed with chakra, causing the energy to become chaotic and difficult to sense clearly. At this moment, the entire space seemed to be solidified by this energy. Even a Jonin like Bai Yai became sluggish in his movements. He was horrified and prepared to take Chunin Takushi and Ma Tongai away from the spot. No matter how much he disagreed with these two guys, they were children after all. Bai Yai just wanted to teach them a profound lesson, not to really destroy them. When encountering danger, he still had this awareness of taking care of the younger generation first. Unfortunately, Bai Yai's reaction was already very fast, but it was not faster than Mew Mew's ability. A large bunch of things that looked like soil but not soil, like wood but not wood, broke out from the ground and quickly tied them up tightly. It has a strong ability to absorb chakra. The more chakra you have, the faster it will be absorbed. The moment Bai Yai was tied up, his whole body became weak, and his chakra began to pour out. His face changed drastically. The more he struggled, the tighter he was tied. He didn't even have the strength to call for help. On the contrary, Nakamura Takushi and Ma Tongai didn't feel so strong. However, they were still dizzy after being beaten, and they didn't even realize that they were tied up. Bai Ya, Nakamura Takushi, and Ma Tongazi were tied up, and their chakra was continuously absorbed and turned into nutrients for those things, and would not flow directly into Mew Mew's body. Of course, for Mew Mew at this time, their chakra amount has become insignificant. If Mew Mew's chakra before was only the amount of a drop of water, then now it is a lake, and it is a large lake. It is amazing that such a huge amount suddenly came out from nowhere, but did not burst him. Although Mew Mew was a little uncomfortable at this time, he felt like bathing in a hot spring pool, so comfortable that he couldn't help but hum. That was the life energy warming his body, changing and strengthening his physique. He took a look at the things that tied Bai Ya and others, black like a S-type monster, and it was completely unrecognizable as wood style. But he knew very well that this was just because the ability had just appeared and he couldn't control it well, resulting in differences in the nature transformation, which made the appearance different. But in essence, this is also wood style, a kind of inferior wood style that has been weathered for many years. Mew Mew also knew that if time went on for a long time, it would easily cause irreversible damage to Bai Zai and the others. There was no hatred between the two sides, and he did not want to lose control of his ability and get a bad reputation for hurting his companions in the village. But now his body was washed by huge energy, and he could not control it freely, and he could not let go of Bai Zai and the others. Fortunately, he had kept a backup plan when he fabricated the future. The huge energy explosion here soon attracted the attention of the Anbu patrolling nearby, and several people rushed over to check the situation. Bai Zai Jonin is testing those graduating students. What happened? Is there such a strong person among the students? He actually defeated Bai Zai Jonin. No, it seems that the ability is out of control. Hurry up and save people. Several Anbu were obviously confused for a while when they saw the situation at the scene, but they quickly reacted and rushed forward to rescue. Ah, these things can absorb chakra, don't touch them with your hands. One of the Anbu ran fast, and as soon as he touched those inferior wood styles, his body became weak and a large amount of chakra was absorbed. Fortunately, his situation was different from that of Bai Ya and others, and he was able to speak out in time to remind his teammates. With his reminder, the other Anbu naturally stopped touching, throwing ninja tools, or using ninjutsu, and soon destroyed those inferior wood styles and saved Bai Ya and others. The Anbu whose chakra was absorbed was also rescued. He patted his chest and breathed a sigh of relief, looking frightened. What kind of ability is this? It seems that it has just awakened, and the user cannot control it freely, but it has such a great power. This matter must be reported to the third-generation adults to deal with it. An Anbu who seemed to be the leader collected a piece of inferior wood-style fragments and said to the others, "You guys send Bai Ya Jonin and others to the hospital for treatment, leave 2 people to clean up the scene, and I will take this student to see the third-generation adults." Yes, several Anbu divided the work and cooperated, and soon dispersed. The leading Anbu looked at Mumu. After Mumu's ability burst out, he entered a short period of weakness. Although he did not faint, he could not stand steadily. The Anbu supported him and said, "You heard what I said just now. I will take you to see the third generation master now, and he will decide. But don't worry, this is just an accident. You didn't do it on purpose, and you won't be punished for it. But you have to find a way to figure out the principle of this ability, and you must be able to control it freely. During this period, you may not be able to contact others." Don't think that many novels describe Konoha as very dark, with all kinds of conspiracies, intrigues, and hostility. Regardless of whether it is true or not, at least on the surface, Konoha is a warm big family. Mumu just lost control after awakening his ability, and he did not make any mistakes. Although this ability is powerful, it will not attract covetousness before it is understood. Naturally, Anbu will not have obvious hostility towards him, and it is all business. Mumu expressed his understanding and said weakly, "Sorry to bother you, senior. Apologize to Mr. Baiya and others for me. Don't worry, they won't blame you." Anbu nodded and took Mumu to the Hokage building. Soon, Anbu took Mumu to the Hokage office, told the third generation what happened before, and handed over the inferior wood-style fragments he brought before. The third generation looked at Mumu with some surprise, and he still had some impression of Mumu. But he only knew that he was a mediocre civilian, and he didn't expect that he could awaken such a powerful ability. "Don't worry, kid, I know the situation clearly. You didn't do it on purpose. No one will blame you." The third generation calmed Mew Mew with a kind face, and then looked at the inferior wood-style fragment in his hand. Although the title of the strongest Hokage of the third generation is somewhat unworthy of the name, the professor of ninjutsu is really capable. It didn't take long for him to analyze the composition of the fragment, but he was not sure yet, and he didn't dare to believe it. If it is really that kind of ability, it is a great blessing for Konoha, and it can also take this opportunity to recall Tsunade, who is traveling outside to the village. "Kid, let me see your physical condition." The third generation couldn't sit still when he thought of this. He stood up and came to Mew Mew, trying not to scare Mew Mew with a kind and gentle expression, and then checked his physique and chakra attributes. Mew Mew originally planned to use the ability of wood style to get into the sight of Konoha's high-level leaders and let the third generation become his backer, so he would naturally not resist. He stood there obediently, cooperating with the third generation's movements, but his attention was turned to the chat group. All three girls had started live broadcasts. At this time, the 7th class where little Sakura was still bored in the classroom waiting for their leader Jonin to come. The 8th and 10th classes were both practicing with their Jonin teachers. Since Ino and Hinata both joined the group chat and gained the group system buff, their performance was quite eye-catching. The three little ones in the 10th class where Ino was originally, except for the family secret technique, their own abilities were mediocre, and their physical skills were also quite poor. Only Choji could make a relatively powerful attack because of his body. Unfortunately, because of his body, his movements were quite clumsy when he didn't use the family secret technique. Not to mention Shikamaru, he was a salty fish, and he didn't want to move more when he could not work hard. In this case, Ino directly became the main force of the three little ones, completely attracting Asuma's firepower. Under the premise of Asuma letting the water go, the two of them actually fought evenly. The two companions were stunned, and Asuma was also shocked, and he almost got hurt. Is this really Ino? When did she become so powerful? Shikamaru's IQ of 250 said that he couldn't figure it out at all. Did she use the forbidden technique? Choji ate a few bites of potato chips and hesitated, like the Akamiki clan's 3-color pills. This made Shikamaru roll his eyes fiercely. Who would take banned drugs to participate in a trial? Ino's performance was already surprising enough, but Hinata was even better than her. In any case, Hinata's combat power was stronger than Ino's, and her group system gain was 50% higher than hers. Hinata, who looked weak, was not liked by Kiba and Shino at first, and they all thought she would drag them down. As a result, when the three little ones attacked Teacher Hong together, Kiba and Shino soon couldn't keep up with the action. Hinata opened her Byakugan directly, and the gentle fist 8 trigram's palms, which she couldn't use before, was very easy to use this time. And she also had a feeling that if she tried harder, she could even use 64 palms. Such strength can already be compared with Shippuden, but it's just a little less settled. After Hinata's main attack, Kiba and Shino assisted from the side, and actually forced Yuhi Kurenai to be a little flustered. In any case, Yuhi Kurenai is better at illusion, and her physical ability is relatively poor. And Hinata and Kiba can be said to be powerful physical ninjas. Shino's melee ability is a little weak, but his bug support ability is indeed perverted. So it didn't take long for Yuhi Kurenai to use her illusion and knock down Kiba and Shino. As for Hinata, she was in a stalemate with her for a long time. Haruno Sakura. Wow, so boring. Although I know that my team leader has a poor sense of time after watching the future video, this is too outrageous. If we wait any longer, the sun will set soon. Uzumaki Karen. Little Sakura, even if your teacher arrives, he will just ask you to introduce yourself, right? The survival exercise of grabbing the bell will not start until tomorrow at noon. Haruno Sakura. Haruno Sakura. Why did you assign me such an unreliable teacher? Tiantian. Just be content. Although I haven't met Kakashi teacher, I know that he is very powerful. He is the man that our guy teacher always talks about. Haruno Sakura. That green watermelon rind. After hearing what you said, I want to change teachers even more. Uzumaki. The buff effect of the group system is really strong. Ino and Hinata can now fight Jonin in close combat, and they don't seem to be at a disadvantage. If the buff effect can be maximized, I don't know how strong they will be. Haruno Sakura. Tisk, it's just that their teacher is not serious. I won't be worse than them if I change. Maybe she is a little worse than Hinata, but little Sakura believes that she will not lose to Ino. Mumu, this is your name, right? The purposeful voice of the third generation pulled Mumu's attention back from the group chat. Mumu looked at the third generation head with some doubts, and found that his examination had come to an end. He had a thoughtful expression on his face, as if he had come to some conclusion, but he was not completely sure yet. Yes, Hokage-sama. Mumu looked respectful, as if he admired the third generation head Hokage very much. Third generation was secretly satisfied, patted him on the shoulder, and said, "Don't be so reserved, everyone in the village is my family, just treat me as your own elder." Thank you for your kindness, third generation, I'm just a nobody. Mew Mew relaxed a little, but the admiration in his eyes became more enthusiastic. The third generation smiled and said, "No matter how strong or great a ninja is, they all grew up from small people. You don't need to belittle yourself. As long as you can control the power just now, you will soon become a powerful ninja." What exactly is that power? Mew Mew pretended to be puzzled and said, "I was just unwilling to be eliminated by Teacher Bai Ya, and it was not a problem of strength. I had a rage in my heart that I had nowhere to vent, and then suddenly that power appeared in my body. I didn't want to hurt Teacher Bai Ya and Takushi. I tried my best to control it at that time, but that power almost sucked them dry. That power doesn't feel like a good thing." The third generation seemed to feel the entanglement in Mew Mew's heart, patted him on the shoulder again, and said with emotion, "What a good boy, from you, I see the inheritance of the will of fire from our predecessors." The corners of Mew Mew's mouth twitched slightly. In his memory, he had listened to the third generation's lectures on the will of fire several times during his time at the ninja school. Would he come again now? Fortunately, the third generation did not take the opportunity to promote the will of fire this time, but waved to the Anbu who sent Mew Mew over, saying, "You leave first." Regarding Mew Mew's ability, it is listed as the village's top secret. Inform everyone who sees it that this matter must not be leaked at all. Leaking the news is equivalent to betraying the village. Also, clean up all traces of the previous training ground. The Anbu's eyes flashed with surprise. It was actually the top secret. What exactly is that ability? However, as an Anbu, he knew what to ask and what not to ask. He bowed his head and said, "Yes," and prepared to leave. By the way, the third generation suddenly said again, "Call Tianzang over." "Yes," the Anbu responded again, and left the place with a body flicker technique. After Anbu left, the third generation turned to Mew Mew and said with a smile, "Don't be nervous. I'm not sure if your ability is what I imagined, so I won't talk about it for now. Someone will come to check and confirm it for you later. But don't worry, no matter whether it is the ability I thought of, what is certain is that your ability is definitely very strong. As long as you use it well, you will definitely become a very powerful ninja and the backbone of Konoha shinobi in the future. But I hope you understand one thing, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. While having great power, don't forget your original intention. Protect the people around you and protect Konoha, the common home of everyone. And you will also become a hero admired by everyone, just like the fourth Hokage, who is respected by everyone. Can I really do that? Mew Mew was flattered and said with fear, please rest assured, third generation, I will definitely use my ability well to protect everyone and will never let you down. I believe you. The third generation looked at Mew Mew with a look of relief. What a good child, I didn't notice it before. If Mumu really awakens wood style, he may grow to the level of Shodai. If Konoha has another strong man like the first generation to protect it, it will be worry-free for decades to come. Then even if he retires from the position of Hokage, he can be completely relieved. But before that, we have to determine Mumu's bloodline background. I hope it is really related to the Senju clan. In this way, he can train Mumu wholeheartedly before abdicating and make him into the shape he wants. When Konoha was first established, the first and second generation did a lot to break down the barriers between clans and integrate everyone into the big family of Konoha. They hid the surnames of the Senju clan and dispersed them all in the village. They were no longer bound by their own clans, but married all ninja clans, including civilians. This is why the name of Senju was no longer heard in later generations. Even the direct grandchildren of the first generation, Nawaki and Tsunade, no longer had the surname Senju. The Senju were not exterminated. At least in the Hokage world that Mumu traveled through, there were still many Senju bloodlines. Others may not know that Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, can be verified at any time through the resident files. Mumu left a hidden line in the future video. Although it was not stated explicitly, the trust that the third generation showed in Mumu from beginning to end proved that the third generation had no doubts about his identity. Not long after, an Anbu knocked on the door of the office and walked in after getting permission. Third generation, the captain of the 6th Anbu team, Tenzo, is reporting. The other party saluted respectfully to the third generation leader. As soon as he spoke, Mew Mew recognized his identity. Konoha is the only wood-style master now, at least in public. The third generation leader called him over, and the purpose was self-evident. Sure enough, the third generation leader quickly explained Mew Mew's situation to Tenzo and asked him to come over for inspection and verification. Tenzo seemed very surprised and cautious. He walked in front of Mew Mew and said, "Relax, I'm just checking it out briefly, it won't have any effect on you." Seeing that Mew Mew didn't have obvious resistance, Tenzo put his hand on Mew Mew's belly. To be honest, Mew Mew was actually very uncomfortable with being done this by a man. But in order to live comfortably in the village in the future, this discomfort had to be endured. Fortunately, Tenzo's action did not last too long. He just transmitted his own wood-style chakra into Mew Mew's body and circled around, and then quickly took it back. After that, he nodded to the third generation and said, "It's a huge breath of life, which I have never seen before. It can be confirmed to be wood style. And unlike my ability that is similar to the secret technique obtained by implanting cells, his is the self-awakening of his innate constitution. It is now in a fully activated state. With a little training, he will be able to control it quickly. Although I am not sure whether it can reach the level of Shodai, if compared with me, the strength is probably more than 100 times my." Although the third generation had expected it and was mentally prepared, he couldn't help but take a breath after hearing what Tenzo said, and then he couldn't help showing ecstasy. If the strength is more than 100 times that of Tenzo, does it matter whether it can reach the level of first generation? Tenzo is just an experimental subject, who was implanted with a small number of first-generation cells, thus obtaining a low-profile version of wood style. Even so, he already has the strength of elite Jonin. If it is 100 times stronger than him. No, to be precise, it is 100 times stronger than wood style, which is more terrifying than 100 times stronger. In the future, Mew Mew will definitely be qualified to become the strongest cage level, or even surpass the cage level. He was so excited that he wanted to do hundreds of somersaults, but the third generation still hid it well. He is the Hokage, and he cannot lose his composure in front of his subordinates. It's already very good to be able to reach this level. Shodai is a special case after all. Not everyone can compare with him. Throughout the history of the ninja world, only that person back then can compete with him. The third generation pretended to be reluctantly accepting, then turned to look at Miu Miu and said gently, Miu Miu, I'm going to let you join Anbu, and the Hokage will be directly under Anbu. What do you think? Me, is it okay? Miu Miu looked surprised and seemed a little unconfident. The third generation smiled and said, have you forgotten what I told you before? It may be a little lacking now, but as long as you control your own power, Anbu will not be a problem for you. I have higher expectations for you, and I also hope that you can take over my position in the future and protect my family in the village. Although Miu Miu was still a little unconfident, he was excited by the words of the third generation. He said with a firm expression, Third generation master, I will definitely work hard. The third generation master smiled and nodded, then turned to Tenzo again and said, in this case, I will hand this child over to you first, and you will train him. This is a special matter at present, and you must do your best to let him control it perfectly. It's an honor. Tenzo agreed without hesitation, saying, it is my honor to witness the birth of a ninja with a true wood-style bloodline. And in the process of teaching him, I may also gain a lot. After all, Miu Miu is a complete version of the wood-style bloodline limit, and he is a low-profile version of the wood-style secret technique. First generation wood style conquers the world, Yamato wood style does greening. Although this sentence has not been spread yet, Tenzo himself has self-knowledge. By teaching Miu Miu, he can also feel how powerful the real wood style is up close. So, after Miu Miu said goodbye to the third generation master, he left with Tenzo. After the office was quiet, the third generation master slowly walked to the door, locked the door, and put down all the curtains on the windows. Ah, the originally mature third generation suddenly cheered and did 10 backflips in a row, and then his excitement slowly subsided. The main reason was that he was too old and his waist couldn't support it, otherwise he would have to do hundreds or thousands of backflips today. The third generation smoked a cigarette and leaned back in a chair, imagining how powerful and high-spirited he would be in the entire ninja world if he controlled a ninja as powerful as the first generation. Who knows, he could use Miuemu's ability to unify the ninja world and firmly engrave his name as the strongest Hokage in the history of the ninja world. However, after the activation, the third generation immediately took the resident files and began to check Miuemu's family tree. On the other side, after Miu Miu followed Tian Zhang away, he soon came to a more hidden base. He was brought in directly by Tian Zhang after avoiding others, and soon arrived at one of the rooms, without seeing the situation outside clearly. Tian Zhang took out a set of Anbu clothes and a matching fox mask. From today on, you are a member of Anbu, belonging to the 6th team, this is your equipment. When entering and leaving the base, you must conceal your identity and never reveal your public identity easily. In the next period of time, I will give you special training so that you can control your own power in the shortest time. After saying these words, Tianzang paused for a while, giving Miu Miu some time to digest, and then said, do you have any questions? Mumu was taken to the Anbu detachment base, but he was just given a brief introduction to the basic situation. After he said it was okay, Tenzo asked him to go back and rest and get ready. Starting tomorrow, they will enter a high-intensity training phase. After Mumu received the Anbu equipment, he left and found that the 4 flowers of Konoha were basically idle. Ino and Hinata had finished their actual combat, and both of them were highly recognized by their respective team leaders, Jonin, and asked others to take them as their goals and not slack off. Yuhi Kurenai even planned to go to the Hyuga tribe with Hinata to explain Hinata's situation to Hyuga Hiyashi so that her treatment at home could be improved. But after considering it, Hinata refused. She wanted to continue to improve her strength and wait for the right opportunity to make a splash, so that her family would take the initiative to look at her with new eyes. Now with the group system buff effect, Hinata is no longer as inferior as before. Especially after the battle with teacher Kurenai, the whole person looks more confident. Little Sakura also waited for Kakashi when Mumu went to Anbu base. Then they introduced themselves to each other, and Kakashi said a few simple words and let them disperse. Other teams will start their mission tomorrow, only they will start the bell-grabbing exercise tomorrow. In this regard, little Sakura didn't know how many times he complained in the group. Tiantian, Jingbao, my mission is also over, and I'm coming to find you now. Yamanaka Ino, okay. I'll wait for you at the dessert shop. Tiantian, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. Haruno Sakura, what are you trying to do? Are you two girls dating? I feel that your relationship has become so strange now. Uzumaki Karen, no, they bought some desserts and snacks, and wanted me to taste the food of Konoha. I'll summon Ino later, leave the things, and then Tiantian will summon her back. Haruno Sakura, too much, you didn't even call me for this kind of thing. Yamanaka Ino, you are a selfish person, you didn't think of blaming me. Haruno Sakura, you are the selfish one, your whole family is selfish. Hyuga Hinata, Uzumaki Karen, I appreciate everyone's kindness, really, you don't have to do anything for me. Anyway, I said in the future video that I can settle down in Konoha in a few days, and it won't be too late for everyone to get together then. Tenten, don't be angry, little Sakura, today Ino and I will deliver desserts, and tomorrow you and Hinata can deliver something else. As long as the two of us team up, we can ensure that there is a coming and going, and there is an in and out. Haruno Sakura, that's true, but there is indeed a problem with you two, you have already divided into teams privately. Pighead Ino, you are the selfish one. At Hyuga Hinata. Hyuga Hinata, yes, I have no problem. Yamanaka Ino, hehe, I'm not angry. You're just jealous of my good relationship with Tiantian. I'll take Tiantian to Mumu-kun's house for a meal later, so you can continue to be jealous. Haruno Sakura, Tiantian, Hyuga Hinata, eat for a meal. Tiantian, Jingbao, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up, I'm here. Yamanaka Ino, I'm coming. Haruno Sakura, humph, it's too late to shut up now. Do you want to go to Mumu to level up? I'll go too. Hyuga Hinata, I want to go too. I just want to apologize to Mumu-kun. Hanabi treated him like that last time. Tiantian, Jingbao blames you. Yamanaka Ino, I wouldn't have said that if I had known. Uzumaki Karen, are you going to Mumu-kun? Can you start a live broadcast so I can watch? Seeing this, Miu Miu couldn't help but feel moved. Did the four flowers of Konoha come to see him together? This is good. Today's home will be lively. Thinking about it, Miu Miu went back and bought some more vegetables. Since they are here to eat for free, they must be well prepared. Mumu is not a licker. The other party approaches him to please him, and he simply returns the favor in other ways. The two sides give and take, and the good impression is raised. After awakening the wood style today, Mumu's temperament has improved, his appearance has been optimized, and even his height has jumped up by 20 centimeters. From the original 1.5 meters, he has directly increased to 1.7 meters. There is only a little immaturity on his face, otherwise he would have been a big boy. Mumu is not sure whether the first generation wood style has this effect. Anyway, he can use the future video to trigger the effect he wants at will. As his physique strengthens, Mumu's crime tools also react, which is what Mumu wants most, but the specific effect still needs to be verified in actual combat. Soon, Mumu returned home after buying vegetables and began to prepare dinner. Ino rejected Asuma's invitation to dinner, although it is more likely to send food to Karen, but part of the reason is to come to him. Even if there is a purpose, Mumu doesn't mind. There is a saying that it's not the intention but the deeds that count. As long as they treat me well and don't betray me, that's enough. Why think so much about the rest? Uzumaki. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so touched. Ino, Tenten, and little Sakura and Hinata, I'm really happy to meet you. I feel so lucky. Uzumaki. I don't know what you think. What I think is that no matter what happens to Mumu-kun in the end, it would be best if we can be together for the rest of our lives. Hyuga Hinata. I'm happy too. Haruno Sakura. Don't worry. I won't compete with you for Mumu. We will always be fine. Yamanaka Ino. It's hard to say. Mumu's charm will only grow. But I also agree that we can compete, but we should never become enemies. Tenten. Since you are so emotional, I'll be emotional for once. As the eldest sister of all of you, I will be responsible for maintaining the relationship between the sisters in the future. Uzumaki Karen. I have no objection. Hyuga Hinata. I also hope to have a sister. Haruno Sakura. I don't care, it has nothing to do with me anyway. Yamanaka Ino. Yamanaka Ino. I have an objection, I object. Why should you be the eldest sister, just because you are older? Tenten. Jingbao, don't struggle, now it has been passed by 4 votes, even if you object, it's useless. From now on, I am the eldest sister in the group. Yamanaka Ino. I am older than you. Tenten. Nonsense, I am obviously a little older than you. Hyuga Hinata. Actually, Yamanaka Ino. Hinata, go away. Tenten. Hinata, shut up. Haruno Sakura. Hinata, it's none of your business. Hyuga Hinata. No, I want to say. Yamanaka Ino. No, you don't want to say it. Tenten. You don't want to think about anything. Uzumaki. Why do I feel so familiar? I seem to have dreamed about this scene. Haruno Sakura. No, it just happened once this morning. The author copied and pasted it. Yamanaka Ino. Haha, 2 Ping brothers sneaked in. Haruno Sakura. Uzumaki. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.